And now, introducing, it's Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, partying, yeah, fun, looking forward to the weekend. He's Glenn Clark.
Been a minute. The classic. I actually saw that she was like attempting a musical comeback of some sort, I think, recently.
Don't you have to have been here to come back?
No, she was very significant for bad reasons, but she was very significant. Everybody knew who Rebecca Black was there for a little while.
I forgot how the first part went, so I had to talk it until I could remember the beat, unfortunately.
I remember there was a whole debate about, like, which seat do you sit in the car. Like, that was the entire verse of the song.
It was kicking in the front seat, chilling in the back seat.
You know it better than I do.
Well,
you know it better than I
had to look up the lyrics for the introduction today, and they are something about getting cereal.
It's a classic. It's an absolute classic. Good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn Clark. He's Paul Valley. The kids are all. We haven't had the whole family here together in a long time. It's a nice family dinner today.
Last time we got that they were here, we got what is it? Flaming hot Cheetos and cream cheese.
That's right. That was a good day.
And she brought no snacks today.
Little Jordan's back from Nashville. Papa Cass has been back for a little while, and this is her final training day, Denzel, before she takes over on the board on Tuesday. We'll see how that goes. We shall see. Lots to do on the program today. Coming up in a bit, we're going to chat with Johnny Holiday. Today is the actual 20th anniversary of the Maryland Men's Basketball National Championship in 2002. We're going to share some memories with him, talk a little bit about what he thinks of Kevin Willard, things along those lines. Later on in the program, former NFL GM Mike Tannenbaum, he thinks Lamar Jackson is brilliant, might be a Hall of Fame agent for how he's handled his contract situation. We probably agree a little bit on things, but, we got to separate about some of the hyperbole. We'll chat about that later on in the program. And before today's show wraps up, we're going to head down to Sarasota. Orioles outfielder Ryan McKenna and his glorious hair are going to check in with it. I haven't seen. What's his hair looking like?
He got a haircut.
Well, we got to talk about that. Why would you ever do that? Why would that ever be a thing you would do if you were Ryan McKenna?
He's looking like a little Jordan these days.
That's not okay. No offense to Lil Jordan. I'm not trying to take shots or speak out of turn, but you didn't start with Ryan McKenna's hair.
It's not good. His hair was majestic.
It was unbelievable.
His helmet would fly off.
God, and you would just see it was just luscious, just everywhere. Oh, I love that. We gotta. What was the line from Superbad? It's like spitting in the face of God. Gotta talk about that, man. That is a real issue. All right, that's the hard-hitting journalism we do here, and we will get to the bottom of this particular issue. All right, today's show brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, where I'm going to be come Monday night, hanging out with Rodney Elliott and you, watching the NCAA championship game with great giveaways, betting advice for the title game, all of that. In fact, we've upped the giveaway ante, as I am to understand that our friends at Grade 8's Memorabilia are hooking us up with some serious memorabilia giveaways from Monday night. That is very cool. So we look forward to seeing you in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel on Monday night. Come join us. And we're going to have a great time. If Duke wins tomorrow, we'll root like hell against Duke. If Carolina wins, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't know. I think if Carolina and Villanova win, then I actually will have clinched our bracket contest. So I don't really think I care at that point. If it's Carolina, Kansas, whatever. I don't care. As long as it's not Duke, who gives a rat's ass.
You can go celebrate at a local seafood establishment. I hear their owner is quite the Carolina fan.
Ah, yes, I'm familiar with their work. Look, man, I don't hate. I've said this before. We all still hate Duke. I don't hate Carolina the way that I did when Maryland was in the ACC. I'm kind of over that. I'm more indifferent than anything.
I kind of agree.
So I'm equally indifferent to the other three teams that are involved that aren't named Duke. Utter and complete indifference. Although, if one of them is playing Duke, I'm rooting like hell for them. So that's just the way the weekend's going to go for me. But we'll see on Monday night at the FanDuel Sportsbook. And these 3 games to wrap up the NCAA tournament, you can still, if you bet $50 or more on any of these 3 games, and you're a Live Rewards member, you can register your bet to win a $500 bracket bonus. There are going to be 10 given out. If you're not signed up for Live Rewards, then you need to make sure you go ahead and do that. All right, so I have said all week that I would tell you guys what the story was, and I'm going to tell it to you today. And I'm going to tell it to you here at the top because it's just the way that the show worked out and where we have some time today for me to tell it to you. I don't want to make too much of it. I'm not trying to grandstand. I'm not trying to do any of those things. I just want to inform you guys that I have said all week, hey, we had a really big guest lined up for Wednesday's show, and we didn't know if it was going to happen or not, but I got sort of kind of final confirmation yesterday that it's not happening. So because of that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. And it's not a big deal, and I'm going to tell you about it almost to set up the other thing that I want to do. So here's the deal. We were scheduled on Wednesday of this week. I'll give you the backstory first. A week ago, more than a week ago, Ryan Shell is back with us in a consulting role now. He's helping us out with guest booking, and we've greatly appreciated having him back and involved with us. And we'll have Ryan come by the studio someday when he gets the chance. He, of course, has a job at WBAL, and that's what he's doing, but they were kind enough to allow him to continue to help with us, and that's greatly appreciated. Because, they don't have to do that, as I've said all along. They could absolutely say, get bent, man, you work for us. You're going to go moonlight over there? No chance. But they didn't do that, so I'm very appreciative of the folks at WBAL, and Ryan's been very helpful. And so I said, when he started again, I was like, Ryan, there is the big one that we've actually never had on the show. We've never had Lamar Jackson on the show before. And I said, here's the contact. I've had some luck. I've been in touch with his camp a bit over the years. Just never had any luck. But, maybe mention that we would be willing to plug. He's got this children's book out right now. Mention that we'd be willing to plug it and see what you can't do. And a couple weeks ago, Ryan was like, I think they want to do it. And I was like, I'm skeptical, but okay, I'm listening. And a couple days later, he messaged back and was like, no, they really want to do it. In fact, we're booked. We have booked the interview. Now, the interview was booked for next week. Then a day later, he said, actually, they want to move it up. They want to do it next Wednesday. I was like, wow. Okay, so they're serious. They really want to do this. Great. Well, I mean, that's tremendous. But knowing what I've been through in this business over the years, knowing the significance of a Lamar Jackson interview, I was hesitant to share with you that Lamar specifically would be joining us. And that was the reason why I said, hey, we've got a really big guest scheduled for Wednesday, and didn't use the name because I've been through this before. Privately, I shared with this group what my specific fears were. I said specifically, here's what I think might happen and why I'm not sure we're actually going to end up having Lamar on the show next week. And I didn't do that to be a negative Nelly. I just did that because I've done this for a very long time. I've been through these things for some 20 years. These things don't normally happen quite the way you want them to happen. So on, I want to say last Friday, Ryan messaged me and said, hey, Lamar's camp was wondering if you could send over some topics. Just send over some things that you wanted to talk about. And I said, no problem. That's not... In terms of journalism, I've never had a problem with giving ideas of things that I want to discuss. It's not an issue for me whatsoever. We'll get to that because I won't be dictated, but I have no problem ahead of time just to make the interview go better. Hey, here are some places where I think I want to go. I don't try to do gotcha journalism. I don't try to do the catch you off guard, make you feel stupid. Who was the dummy that ran for president a few years ago that didn't know what Aleppo was? The libertarian. Gary Johnson, was that his name? They were like, how do you feel about Aleppo? And he's like, what's Aleppo? I'm having an Aleppo moment. I don't want that. That's not good for anybody. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone by asking them something they don't know about. I have no problem saying, hey, here's the things that I want to talk about. So over the weekend, I put together a list of things, and we sent it over and said, hey, this is the things that you'd like to be prepared for. And on Monday night, we got a message back, and that message said, very simply, you can only talk to Lamar Jackson about his children's book. And unfortunately, I can't do that. It's just the reality. I can't do that. We have, you can laugh when I use the word journalistic standards because you've heard this show before, and I understand that, but we do. We have journalistic standards to what it is that we do, and my employer is Pressbox, and they certainly have journalistic standards, and I can't do that. That's not an option for me. And we continued the dialogue, and we continued the conversation, and I think you guys know, if you've ever tuned into the show, that I have no problem promoting, even heavily promoting, something for any athlete, author, whoever it is, in the course of a conversation, as part of the conversation. We'll never have a problem with that. Other people scoff at that. Like, I wouldn't let you get your plugs. These people don't owe me anything. No one owes it to me to come on this show or to do an interview with me in any circumstances. No one does. So if the trade-off for their time is that I allow them to plug something, to promote whatever it is they're doing, absolutely. I'm more than willing to do that. And over the years, I'd like to hope, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'd like to hope I found a pretty good middle ground between plugging and promoting what it is they want to promote and having a relevant conversation with these people about whatever is going on. So we continued the dialogue, and I said, look, I want to talk to Lamar Jackson about his book. As I'm a father, I have young kids. I think it's fascinating. He's a father. I want to talk about where he is in his life with fatherhood. I think you guys know, I love talking to fathers about how fatherhood has changed them. Terry Nolan was on with us a few months ago. I was nearly in tears talking to him about what fatherhood has meant to him. I love talking about that stuff. I want to talk about that. But I also have to be able to at least ask some other questions. Because if I put Lamar Jackson on this show and didn't, you guys would then realize I'm not serious. I'm not legitimate in any way. And I can't do that. I just can't do that. My employer wouldn't allow me to do that, but I wouldn't do it either. I don't need them to be the ones that say no. I can say no to that. I've got to be able to ask. And I think, again, as you all know, I've never been one to... We get combative sometimes with people, but very rarely. It's extraordinarily rare. And I've always typically been willing to ask the question. I'll give a couple... we had Bradley Bozeman, who's a friend, on a couple weeks ago. And I can put him on, but I'm going to have to ask, hey, man, there's a report that you turned down an extension. I have to ask that question. I like you. We'll always promote the wonderful charity things that you do, but I have to ask you about that because it's out there and it's relevant and it matters. And if I don't, the people that listen to this are going to walk away saying, what the hell was the point? You didn't ask him about the thing that we all want to know about. Now, when you answer the question, I don't need to drive it down and obsess over it. And Bradley was sort of dismissive of it, if you'll remember when we brought it up with him. He was like, yeah, sometimes things just don't happen. And that's fine. That's fine. I accepted that. That was his answer to my question. But I had to ask the question. John Angelos came on a couple years ago. He came on because he wanted to promote when they were doing the kids come to the games free thing that they had just announced. I said, I'm happy to do that. But I got to be able to ask questions of John Angelos. I got to say, hey, are we going to talk about getting an app and streaming games? Are we going to talk about, airing the spring training games? Because I need to be able to do those things. I can't put someone who's relevant on and not ask those questions, or else no one's going to listen anymore. What would you be listening for? I'll give you another example. Michael Harrison is the police chief here in Baltimore, and I think you guys know they've come on. They're spending a little bit of money with us, and I've been doing some commercials with them, and as part of that, we're going to have him in studio, and I'm happy to do that. But despite the fact that they're a partner of ours, I still said, but I have to be able to ask questions. It can't just be that we do a fluff thing. He's going to come in studio, and we're going to talk. We're going to have a conversation about some of the things I've talked about with, say, the mayoral candidates over the years, the perception of danger in Baltimore and people saying, I don't want to go to games anymore because I don't feel safe going into the city. We're going to talk about that stuff because you have to be able to do that, or else what are we doing as a show? Now, I also understand that Lamar Jackson is a more prominent figure than any of the names I just brought up. In pop culture, he's a far more relevant figure. Anytime Lamar Jackson says anything, the likelihood is that it's going to be picked up by someone and spun, and 6 stupid, dumb ESPN talking head shows are going to talk about it the next day, and there are going to be people to take shots at Lamar Jackson because of it. Because society sucks. And because this medium sucks. Because that's just what we do. And so I understand their defensiveness. And my point all along is if we can't do this, we can't do this. Lamar Jackson owes me nothing. Zero. Nor does he owe anybody else anything. If it can't happen, it can't happen. And I'll understand that. At the end of the day, I will understand if the answer just is he won't be talking about his contract. He won't be talking about his future in Baltimore. If that's the answer, that's the answer. It just can't be with me. And part of that, and it's important too, because it's not just about me. It's also, I'm a member of the Pro Football Writers Association of America. I don't ever talk about that because, being completely honest, I basically only ever joined that just to support the idea of there being a Pro Football Writers Association of America. I don't get a whole lot from it. But if somebody else wants to do an interview with Lamar Jackson, The Athletic, The Baltimore Sun, ESPN, 105.7, WBAL, WJZ, whoever it is, if they want to do an interview with Lamar Jackson, I don't want there to be a precedent set that real questions don't get answers or can't be asked. That's the wrong way of saying it. Can't be asked. This isn't me thinking I'm so self-important. This is me understanding that there is an obligation of all of us that are in this business to try to continue some level of journalism. So I said, if this is just the way it is, if Lamar, because of his prominence, and he just doesn't want to deal with the fact that people are going to rip apart his words, just can't do it. And by the way, I want to make this clear. I don't even know that this was a decision that he made. He might have no idea that any of this is even happening. I was working with his team. If that's the case, that's the case. And I'm not offended by it. It won't in any way impact the way I discuss or cover Lamar Jackson. I think everyone who listens to this show knows I think the world of Lamar Jackson. I think he's incredible. I ain't changing. He never does this show. I'll never change that opinion. My opinions about you will never be impacted by whether or not you come and make an appearance on this program. Sometimes, I admit openly, it's difficult for me to be unbiased in how I feel personally about people that we've gotten to know. I said that about Bradley and Nikki. It's difficult for me. Now, it helps that Bradley was also a pretty good football player. But I've never tempted to lie to you just because we like somebody. I never tempted to say so-and-so. Miles Boykin has made multiple appearances on this show. Have you ever heard me say that Miles Boykin was an outstanding wide receiver who was getting misused in Baltimore? Never. And I like Miles Boykin, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. And I'd like to hope this far into what I do, you guys know that. My opinion of Lamar Jackson will not change. He's got to be better against the blitz. I think we all know that. Hell of a quarterback faces wildly unfair scrutiny regularly. Complete nonsense that's said about him. My opinion of Lamar Jackson will never be influenced in any way by whether or not he comes on this show. And that was my ultimate, if it just can't happen, if you're saying I cannot ask him, and there were two. One, his health, just to know. I think we all know based on the videos we've seen so I thought that one was an easy one. And then two, any question about his future in Baltimore. If that can't be asked, we just can't do it. And that's okay. That's okay. We're going to do a show. We're going to do, Ryan McKenna's going to check in. We're going to do we had a whole week. We're going to keep going on. Keep on keeping on, as Will Ferrell said in Old School. Go back and put the Cisco CD on, right? Like, we'll do the whole thing. Maybe Cisco will come back on the show. He's been on a few times over the years. I love Cisco. It's my guy. I'd talk to him any day. My guy, call Cisco. See if he wants to. I don't even know what's going on in his world. Just see if he wants to come on again. It's been too long. It's been like 4 years, I think, since we put Cisco on. There was an anniversary recently. I feel like there was an anniversary, and I said I would put him back on, and I forgot to do that. The moral of the story is that's okay. It doesn't offend me in any way. It doesn't. The decision was made, and that's cool. And I hope that at some point we can have a conversation with Lamar Jackson. The conversations I've had with Lamar Jackson when I've been over at the facility, I find it to be really fascinating. I think he's a really interesting cat. I hope that at some point we'll be able to talk about it. And I'm bummed that it didn't work out, but I will always prioritize doing the responsible thing for this show, for this business, over, there was an argument that was made to me by someone this week that said, wouldn't it just be a big deal for you to be able to advertise that Lamar Jackson was coming on the show? Wouldn't it just be a big deal for you to run promos for months about Lamar Jackson having been on the show? I mean, it's a fair argument, right? Like, I think we all know, we can all be very realistic about it. We ain't the biggest show in the world. There's an argument that would have been beneficial to Glenn Clark Radio for me to just do that. But I won't. And if that's that, that I've made a lot of sacrifices, and if that's what prevents me from moving on in the world, I'll live. I'll go work for Jordan in a couple years. I'll go do that, right? We can start a family band. Cass can play the banjo. Work on the banjo, all right, Cass? We might need that. Washboard. Do you know how to play the washboard? I want to play the washboard. I want that to be my role in the family band. That's what we'll do. We'll start a family band. If this is the moment that ruins everything, I'll start a family band and we'll learn how to play the washboard.
Those pipes, you got to front the band, man.
I just don't know that I can reach the levels I once could. Let's see if we did a Creed cover. No, I don't think I got it in me. I don't think I have it in me. Look, man, it's just what it is. It's what it is. And I have no. Here's one thing I don't want you to do. I don't want you to start tweeting Lamar Jackson, say, why won't you do an interview? I think everybody, again, who knows the show knows, that like sort of barstool mentality, that ain't for me. That groupthink thing where we just go try to attack people, I don't want that at all. I don't want one of you to do that. That would be embarrassing to me. Lamar Jackson's an adult and gets to make whatever decision. He does not owe it to anyone. He doesn't owe it to me. He doesn't owe it to Jason Lockenfora. He doesn't owe it to Paul Mittermeier. He doesn't owe it to Sean Stepner. He owes it to no one to do an interview. Zero of us. That's up to him. He's the one with the skills. He's the one in demand. I'm a dope that does an internet talk show. I'm a nothing. The only skill I have is pop-a-shot basketball. And even that's starting to wane because I don't go out drinking as much as I used to. And in fact, by that, I mean I don't go out drinking at all any longer. So I was over trying to play pop-a-shot basketball. Took the kids to Chuck E. Cheese not that long ago. I was trying to play a little pop-a-shot basketball. I'm like, I might not have any skills any longer. The last one might be gone. It's the only one I ever had. It might be gone now. I might be down to zero. All of this to say, and I want to go this far, that I still, because I offered to do it originally when we had this conversation, I still want to plug Lamar Jackson's children's book. I still think it's something you should go pick up. I think it's a cool thing, man. I think it's awesome that he did this. I'm to understand he's going to do more. It's going to be a whole series. I Dream, You Dream, Let Us Dream is the book. It's available right now on Amazon. Paul, would you link that up on our Twitter account, please? I want you to go pick it up. In fact, I'm going to pick up a copy for my kids. We talked about this with Tavon Mason and Joe Gamble a couple years ago. I think representation has been a problem in children's books over the years. And I think it's wonderful that Lamar Jackson is doing something about that. I think it's a great thing. And I want you to go pick up. I want to make sure. Again, I Dream, You Dream, Let Us Dream is available right now on Amazon, and I want you to go pick it up. I am happy to plug the book. as I said I would do. It's not going to waver just because Lamar didn't come on the show. I was offering to plug the book, and I will plug the book anyway. Go pick the book up. And I will buy a copy myself. And it's a bummer that it didn't work out, but that happens. That's the business. The nature of the business is that these things occur, that there have been others that we thought we were going to chat with, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason over the years. And there'll be plenty more. There might be more today. I think we were supposed to have Mo Adu on the show today, and it just didn't work out. That's okay. Life will go on. Again, been working on the washboard. We're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. Cass is going to learn the xylophone. I might force Paul to take his shirt off in order to keep views up.
I don't think as many people want to see that as you do.
Oh, stop it, Paul. Stop it. That card may always be played. We got plenty of options. Plenty of great content. Jordan's over here debating, what were you debating, Kelvin Gutierrez or Jorge Mateo? Captivating stuff. Who doesn't want to tune in to listen to that debate? Kelvin Gutierrez and Jorge Mateo. And Paul and I were split on our opinion about it. We could do 10 fascinating hours. Not really, but still.
We could do 10 fascinating minutes.
No, we couldn't. We could not do that. I just threw out. He literally asked me.
Jorge Mateo has the eligibility.
He's got the eligibility. I don't know if you heard. He's got eligibility at multiple positions. Pick him up. Pick him up. Ben McDonald likes him. He's excited about him. Thinks there could be something there. Pick him up. Pick him up. Have I covered it all? Is there anything else I need to cover? I feel like I went far longer than I intended to do in terms of this subject.
As Glenn Clark is wont to do.
That's what I mean, it's part of the reason why they don't put me on the radio. Well, actually, they are putting me back on the radio again. Oh, that's ironic. That is quite ironic. They are putting me back on the radio. But yeah, this is the way we do things. Wait a second. Is your dad a Duke fan? What's
a Duke fan?
Your mom says Duke or Carolina all the way from Papa Cass's dad.
I mean, he's from North Carolina.
But if you like North Carolina, you can't, that can't be a thing. This is like people who say, I want to root for the division after my team gets eliminated. No one does that. No one says, hey, if the Ravens are eliminated, I want to see the Steelers win the Super Bowl.
Like when my sister had a Steelers tank top and I berated her for it, and she said, well, I like both teams. I said, it's not possible.
Get the F out of here with that.
Families, I don't know. They're a Tar Heels fan. Like, some of my family is in North Carolina.
What do you guys think of the Eric Church thing? Are you guys familiar with this story?
I don't know much about
it. You know this. Why do we keep turning Jordan's microphone? He's fine.
I'm familiar with it. I'm all in favor of what he did.
I don't have people are losing their mind. If you are scheduling flights for an Eric Church concert, I think you're the type that can probably afford to live with the people are like, I had to cancel my flight and I'm losing all this money. I'm like, bro, I'm a normie, right? I'm just a guy. And to be fair, I once flew to Boston to see Jon Stewart and Dave Chappelle. So I have made, but it was also about going to Boston for a couple days and having a trip with a buddy of mine. If you are specifically flying somewhere just for an Eric Church concert, in my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, he plays a lot of them.
Correct.
If you miss this one, there's going to be another one. This isn't like a one-time thing. The time, I don't know that Dave Chappelle and Jon Stewart were going to be doing a whole lot of more shows together. It was kind of a unique situation. I don't think Eric Church is going to stop touring after this weekend. So if you're complaining about your flights and all that sort of stuff, I don't know what to say, man. My guess is if you were flying somewhere to go see Eric Church, it's because you've got enough disposable income that you can afford the fact that Eric Church is canceling a show. I got no beef with it whatsoever.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say. I mean, it's been past concerts too, where they're like, I saved all my money to go to this, and then
you're getting your money refunded.
Right. So that's kind of I mean, for the concert ticket, not the flight ticket.
But again, who is flying somewhere? What person is? You got to lay out for me the scenario by which you're flying to San Antonio for an Eric Church concert.
That's true because Eric Church is in high demand. So like, there's a lot. He goes to a lot of
I
places.
mean, I got to be honest with you. I've actually seen Eric Church once. It was a very long time ago. I was dating a young lady who was very much in, and I enjoyed it. I thought he was quite good
But
for what it's worth.
he tours a lot. Like, he goes to a lot of places.
That was the sense I got. I didn't get the sense that, like, if you missed out on this Eric Church show, you might not get to see him for 5 years. I would think you just go to the next city and see him there. That's the part that's throwing me off. Who is flying to see an? I think these are people that want attention on the internet. What would have happened if he got COVID? He would have canceled the concert, correct? When you buy the ticket, you know there's a chance to get canceled. And it sucks. It's a bummer. I hate it when my plans it's a minor inconvenience to me that my plans get thrown off, but this crap happens all the. I had two different White Stripes shows. And by the way, the White Stripes did break up and stop touring. 2 different shows that got postponed. One for a car accident, one for something else. Yes.
On his tour, he's playing in multiple other arenas over the course of the next 2 months.
So you just go to a different Eric Church concert.
One of them, if people were that pressed out, he's performing tonight.
Where?
At Dickies Arena, Fort Worth, Texas.
It doesn't seem like it's that far away from San Antonio, does it?
No,
Crazy.
probably.
Seems like if you would plan your weekend around it, you could just shift and go to a different show instead, and life would be all right.
I mean, my concert got moved back a year because of COVID.
What concert?
Motley Crue.
Oh, yeah, you're obsessed with Motley Crue. I always forget that.
And Poison. And
Yeah,
all
they were
that.
going to play the big stadium,
Joan
right? They were going to
Jett,
play
yeah,
at
they're playing
the
at,
Nationals Park,
Nationals
right?
Park.
Yeah.
And then they pushed it back. And
It
that's fine.
happens.
It happens.
It
Like,
happens.
We're still going
Yeah,
to it.
it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Pearl Jam was supposed to play. By the way, there's been a lot of rumblings about there being a Pearl Jam concert at Camden Yards this summer, and it's never been announced. So they were supposed to play the arena. It got pushed back because of COVID, and then the arena closed because of the remodeling. So the word was that Pearl Jam was trying to make it happen. They just played Camden Yards instead since they couldn't play the arena. The word was that it was going to happen in August. I would think they probably would have announced that at some point. Like, it seems weird that hasn't been announced if it's going to occur. But these things happen, man. Like, I get it. It's maybe more selfish that it's for a Duke Carolina game instead of being because of like COVID. But the hell, I mean, like, I think it's a lot of people that think that we are the center of the universe and what matters to us should matter to everybody else. You gotta get over yourself. You're getting your money back. Yeah, but I booked a flight. If you did that, I think you're the type of person that can afford it. And I bet there's something else to do in San Antonio on a Saturday evening. I don't know. I haven't been in a long time, but I'm just going to guess you can find another way to spend your time in San Antonio. All right, off my soapbox. Quickly.
NBA game.
Is there a game that night?
All
right, well, thank you. That's not any help at all. Thank you, Jordan.
You're welcome.
There's little Jordan chiming in with us. All right, hey, today is the 20th anniversary of the Maryland Men's Basketball National Championship. And we spent a lot of time putting together this print issue of Press Box, and I talked to everybody. I mean, the coaches, the players, talked to everyone for this celebratory issue of Press Box, which is available right now for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms. Any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box, you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. So when I woke up today and realized today was the actual date, the 20th anniversary, I was like, well, we should do something about that. But I realized I've talked to everybody, except for one person that I didn't get to talk to during the issue, and I regret that because, as he knows and everybody knows, he's one of my favorite human beings that has ever lived. It was very emotional for me. We went to lunch, and he called me his son when he was talking to the waitress, and I was like, please, would you adopt? I love my dad, but would you adopt me, John? He's the great Johnny Holiday, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Johnny, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I do remember that, son. How are you? How's my boy? How's my boy doing?
Oh, man. I love you, brother. It is so great to hear your voice. Johnny Holiday, take me back 20 years ago today. How confident were you that night in Atlanta, given everything that team had been through going back the year before, that there was no way anything could go wrong and that they were going to get the job done against Indiana that night?
You know something, Glenn? To be honest with you, I never gave it a thought. I was just so happy to be there, number one, and kind of blown away as to how Maryland got to the Final Four, how they got to the championship game, and looking at all the people they left on the roadside to get there, the Connecticut's, the Kentuckys, the Wisconsins, the Kansas, just to get a shot at Indiana. And I was shaking my head that – this is pretty cool. I'd never been to a Final Four. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
The year before, right,
We
yeah.
got the year before. But I've never been to a championship game because we were never – Maryland was never in a championship game. So I was just kind of like soaking up everything around it, the arena, the crowd, the enthusiasm, the energy in the building. And then as we got closer to the game being decided and Maryland's going to win their first ever national championship, then it got to be a whole different feeling. Then I got saying, how many guys get a chance to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Only two guys in the country can broadcast that championship game, the winning team and the losing team. And I was going to be part of the winning team. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
What do you remember most about the game itself? I feel like the game gets forgotten because the season was so remarkable, and it was a 64-52 game, right? It wasn't the most thrilling basketball game of all time. What do you most remember about the actual championship game, Johnny?
I think the thing that stood out to me was I had seen these guys all season long. I had seen what they did. I saw the makeup of the team. When you take a look at the guys on Gary Williams' roster with Dixon and Baxter and Wilcox and Mouton and Blake and Nicholas and Taj Holden and Calvin McCall and Andre Collins and Mike Grennan and the late Earl Badu. The thing that stood out to me the most, I think, as the game progressed, Glenn, was the fact that these guys are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really, really good. And wouldn't it be just an incredible moment if they knock off a team with a storied background? They've been to Final Fours before. They'd won national championships, and a program like Indiana. And the fact that I was shaking my head in disbelief that Maryland had never, ever won a national championship. We're on the verge of making history. The game, as you mentioned, 64-52. It was not a blowout. I think the thing that stood out for me the most was how Maryland played defense that night.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I'm going back 20 years now, I think they held Indiana to something like 40% from the field.
It sounds right.
And that's 40% shooting from. I think that's pretty darn good when you're playing in a championship game. And the usual guys led the way: Dixon and Mouton and Lonnie Baxter. Baxter had been MVP of not only one but two regionals, and it was almost like it's destined to be. We're sitting there calling the game. And I'm thinking, I never gave it a thought that Maryland was going to lose that game. Never.
It's funny, John.
I thought from the opening tip, the way that Gary had prepared that team, and the way they had that chip on their shoulder, just like Coach Williams did, that was going to be the big difference. That these guys were tougher, mentally tougher, and physically tougher than Indiana was.
Johnny Halliday. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Johnny, it's so funny you bring that up because I had those same feelings, and I was further away. I still regret to this day. I was still in school at that point, so I was watching the game at Cole, and regretted not making the drive down to Atlanta that night. A buddy of mine, we were walking out of the building like, God, we're so stupid for not doing that. But I remember this feeling, even when they fell behind in the second half. Indiana made a little run. There was just something about that team, right? They had been tested so many times. They had blown a big lead 2 days earlier against Kansas and responded well. And I think we all remember Juan Dixon's baseline jumper. There was just something about that team that it seemed like no matter what, they were pushed so hard by UConn in the Elite Eight. There was just something about they were so resilient. There was no way that anything was going to make them crumble.
I think you mentioned I think the Connecticut game was the turning point, Glenn. And to see the way that Dixon and Caron Butler had like a one-on-one game going the entire game.
Man.
Butler would come down and knock down a three, and here comes Dixon right after him, knocking down one. It was a shootout, and Maryland won that game, I think by 7 or 8, 90-82, I think it was. And then to beat Kansas. And what you got to look at also is they had back-to-back games of scoring 90 points or more, 90 against Connecticut, 97 against Kansas, just to get to Indiana. And when you take a look at the postseason, all those games except one against Kentucky, they were 85 points or more. That's a lot of points to score in a game. But that's the kind of offense that Maryland had back in those days, and hopefully they'll have the same thing maybe sometime soon again.
We'll talk about that in 1 second. We will talk about what's coming for Maryland basketball here in 1 second. Johnny, did you keep anything from that night? Like, is there anything in particular that you kept from the game or from the weekend that you still have in your office that means something to you that's particularly special?
Yeah, I've got the team picture that they signed for me, a big, gigantic team picture that I don't have in the office. I have up in the attic because I've got other things in the office as well, family stuff and things like that. But I've also got the game notes that were put out by the Maryland Media Relations staff, and there are a total of about 45 pages of that. And I saved that. I saved the final box score. I saved the roster. I saved the notes. I've got all those things.
It's a special night.
Yeah, it's good to keep and good to reflect back and to see what we did and see the great run that we had. And if you recall, when Maryland lost 4 games that year, they lost the first game of the year to Arizona.
Yep. In New York, right? That's where that game. It was in
New York,
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Johnny, I know you've talked about it plenty of times, but the kids have done it. Where did it come from? Did it?
Hold on a second.
No, 100%. I'll do anything for Johnny Holiday. You kidding me? Where did it come from? Where was it? Just what came to you in the moment?
I'm sorry, Glenn. I have somebody here, and I didn't hear the question.
It's all right. The kids have done it. I know you've talked about it before,
yeah.
but take for those that have never heard it, take us through. Where did it come from? What's the story behind the final call?
Nothing was planned. Nothing was planned. Never gave it a thought. Only thing I knew I was going to say at the end of the broadcast, there's a lot of people to thank. A lot of people from Maryland Media Relations, the coaching staff, the support staff, the office staff, the managers, the trainers. At the end of the year, I go through all that because without all those people, it would be very tough to do a broadcast. So I had them all written down. But as far as the final seconds have come, ticking off the clock, the only thing I could think of, and I think as I listened back to what I said at the end of the game, I became a little bit emotional, as everybody else was in the Maryland contingent.
Sure.
And just for some reason, that just came out, and the kids have done it. And then I let the crowd take over after that. I think, a lot of broadcasters today, they want to talk right through the emotional moment of a game ending. Just let the crowd tell you exactly what happened. So I kind of backed up and let the crowd take over after that for maybe a minute or so. And then we came back in and continued the broadcast. But there was nothing planned, nothing written down, just spur of the moment, just whatever popped in my mind. And I looked down at Chris Wilcox and Juan Dixon rubbing their hands through Gary Williams' hair and Juan Dixon giving him a shove and everybody laughing and a combination of laughter and tears and happiness. And that's what came out.
It's perfect.
Nothing was planned.
And it was perfect. It was utterly and completely perfect, and what a soundtrack to an amazing moment.
I'd like to say that again sometime, too.
Yeah, it would be. Well, let's talk about that, Johnny. Your perception. I know you got the opportunity to meet him really early on. What do you think of Kevin Willard, and how quickly do you think he could do something here?
You know something, Glenn? I think first impressions are very, very important. I spent time with him in the office with Gary Williams, talking a little bit, and it's always nice when their broadcaster has already kind of set me up with the coach. Their broadcaster is Gary Cohen, who does the New York Mets games on television as well as the Seton Hall games. And so he had told Coach Willard, he says, Johnny Holiday's a good guy. That remains to be seen. He'll find out sooner or later.
He can make his own choice. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of opens up the door a little bit, And that was the first thing he said to me. And I said, Coach, I appreciate that. I don't go by records of what he did, how many games he won. All I know is he's the guy that Maryland chose, and I think everybody should give him their utmost support, should back him. It's not going to be easy because he hasn't been able to recruit anybody. With the interim coach handle, around Danny Manning, you can't go out and recruit. Kids are not going to come to Maryland when they're saying, well, who's the coach going to be? We don't know. Now that they know, now he's got some work to do. The two assistants he's hired, he knew them both. Both have got Washington, D.C. ties, or area ties, and I think that's very, very important. But I think my first impression was he's going to do a nice job. He has the same kind of mental focus that Gary Williams had, and I think that's nice. He mentioned Gary. Gary is sitting in the front row for the press conference, and he made it quite clear that he wants his teams to have the same kind of fight that Gary's had, the same kind of focus, the same kind of work ethic, and the same kind of kids that Gary recruited too. They may not be the marquee guy on that basketball team, but they all work together for Gary Williams, not one single high school All-American on that championship team. And I think that's what Kevin Willard's going to do. And I think, time will tell, and I think it's a good choice and a good hire.
He's very impressive. The conversation,
very much so.
The conversation we had with him, and his honesty was so It was just very. It was nice to hear someone who just said, "Look, man, I know I've fallen short in the NCAA tournament. I think I've got a plan for that. I think that I've got an idea of what we can do better, how I can better build a roster, and I appreciated that because it's it's easy anymore for guys not want to answer questions and just say
You're exactly right.
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm the basketball coach. I had a real appreciation for him saying, no, I'm happy to talk about that, and
sure.
Here's what I think I can do better. I enjoyed that a great deal. All right, well, Johnny, we need to figure out a day sometime this summer that you can come back up here and spend the day with us, and we can go grab.
We go to the same place for lunch?
We'll go Blue Pit. We'll get some lunch there. You tell me the day. I mean, you tell any day at all. If I'm on vacation, I'll come back for you, Johnny Holiday. Because
my question is that lovely waitress still there?
You know what? I think she might be. I was over there recently, and I think I saw her. So
you got to make sure.
Well, and you're definitely
coming up there.
Yeah,
she's got to be working with us.
Yes, you're definitely still her favorite person after how you took care of her the last time. Johnny Holiday, truly love you, my friend.
Glenn.
Always appreciate the time. Thank you for doing this morning.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for the time.
Johnny Holiday.
He is, of course, the best, singularly the best. And appreciate him hopping on with us this morning as we celebrate today being the 20th anniversary of Maryland men's basketball winning a national championship, which means, Jordan, you were barely alive? Barely? Like how old would you have been at that point?
I was probably 1 year old.
1 year old. 1 year old. Cass, you were. It was April 1st, 2002.
Then I would have been like a baby.
How?
Just
What day were you? What day were you born?
July 25th. So I wouldn't have
of 2000.
2001.
Okay. Boy, there's something. There's a really terrible. You were really struggling today too. Cass, this is the standard you have to meet as a board op, by the way.
Just can't unmute
This
mics.
is what you have to. At least you can do this, I think. Yes.
Anyway, I was a senior in high school. You didn't ask me, but I figured you were going to.
Well, I knew you weren't one. I didn't know that.
I was a senior in high school. At least everybody in the room was alive when it happened.
These two have no recollection. None. Zero. No. Doesn't mean anything to them at all.
I received a Maryland Terrapins championship basketball from my grandmother-in-law. Her late husband had it, and she thought Paul would be the one person that would appreciate this, and she gave it to me for Christmas this year.
Well, that's sweet. That's very sweet. That's a very nice gift. I wrote about it not that long ago. I truly regret. My buddy Josh and I had talked about whether or not we were going to go down to Atlanta. I had been burned. I think I told the story. When you're in college, you're broke, right? Like you guys are broke.
Oh, just in college?
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. I was quite broke, and when we first, so I spent my freshman year at UMBC, not at Maryland. I was at UMBC, and when I got to campus, we had done the math about going to Cal Ripken's final game, which was to be at Yankee Stadium to end the season in 2001. And my buddy Josh and I were like, we'll find some tickets on eBay, and we're gonna go. We got to be there for Cal Ripken's final game, and we bought $100 tickets. And again, think about first 2001, and secondarily freshman in college. I don't come from money. That was a serious, like, we're not gonna be able to go to McDonald's Chick-fil-A for a long time because of this. And then, of course, unfortunately, 9/11, and his final game didn't even end up being that game, and it was a waste. I wasted all that money on tickets to Cal Ripken's final game, which wasn't even Cal Ripken's final game. And we were like, well, we already have the tickets. We might as well drive up. It was the most miserable experience of my life. This is not a joke. That game finished in a tie. That game finished in a tie because it didn't matter to either team, and it was raining, and it was 1 week from the end of the season.
I remember.
And they played like 10 innings, and it was miserable. I mean, they were playing through terrible rain to try to declare a winner because they knew there wasn't going to be an opportunity to make the game up. So it was just the worst. That old Yankee Stadium was an utter dump. I mean, the new Yankee Stadium ain't great, but this place was a dump. It was an abysmal experience for seeing in a baseball game. We were sitting in left field. It was pouring rain the entire afternoon. I had spent all of my money in order to go to this game that had no meaning whatsoever. None for a bad Orioles team. And I couldn't even go to Cal Ripken's actual final game because they moved it from Sunday to Saturday, remember, because I don't even know why. They wanted to put more of a focus nationally on Cal Ripken's final game instead of Sunday being about the playoff races. And I had reconfigured my work schedule to be able to go to the game on Sunday, and then they moved it to Saturday, and I wasn't going to be able to go to that. It was just the most miserable experience ever. The game finished in a tie. An actual Major League Baseball game finished. It's in recorded history. You can find it.
I remember
finished in a tie. And the experience was so miserable for me that when my buddy Josh came back to me and said, do you want to start thinking about making a trip to Atlanta? Because remember, we were all pretty confident about that Maryland basketball team. They had just gone to the Final Four the year before. You know, they had that terrible setback against Duke. We were all going into that year super confident. And then there was the game at Cole Fieldhouse where they beat Duke, and you're just like, dude, there's no way. They're not missing the Final Four this year. Let's make our plans. My grandfather lived an hour and a half outside of Atlanta, so I was like, worst case scenario, we drive down there, we stay at his house, like we make a trip out of it, we have a good time. And then I started thinking about the Orioles-Yankees thing. I started thinking about how miserable that was
never
for
got
me.
anybody anywhere.
And I was like, what if they lose in the Elite Eight? What if we plan all around, like we do all these things, and then they lose the weekend before, and we're stuck with it? Because this is also predates like the ease of selling tickets in 2001 and 2002. It was not nearly that simple. It was not you couldn't electronically transfer a ticket. We had to go meet a shady dude in a parking lot somewhere in order to pick up the tickets to what was supposed to be Cal Ripken's final game. Like, this was not an easy process at this point in history. So I talked myself out of it. I said, you know, it is Maryland basketball. They're going to be back. If we miss this one, we'll just go to the next one. Like, we'll be all right. We'll just go the next time they're in the Final Four.
Clark said that.
I said that in 2002. I said that Josh Kellner, I don't even know where he is in the world. But I said to him, like, dude, you know, if we miss this one, no biggie, right? Like, we will just go whenever the next time is that Maryland's in the Final Four. We'll go then. We got our entire lives in front of us. Look, we're fine. We'll be good. And he was like, all right, Glenn, you're right. You're right. We'll do that. And I remember as we went and watched the game at Cole Fieldhouse that night, and I remember walking out with him, and he looked at me. He's like, I hate you. I'm like, what? He's like, we should have been there. And I said to him again, I said, Josh, don't worry. I know it sucks, but in a couple years, you know, we'll be doing better. We'll have jobs. That's the funniest part about all of it. We'll have jobs, we'll be making money, we'll be a little bit more comfortable financially, and we'll just go then. That might be why Josh Kellner and I aren't friends anymore. It might be that promise.
When and if Kevin Willard takes him to another Final Four, you're going to get a phone call.
Yeah, right. I'm like, wait,
Josh.
Who is this guy calling from Anchorage, Alaska? Like, why are Josh Kellner here? Whoa! You're alive. Pack the bags. We're going, baby. That's why I told you, Jordan. That's why I told you.
Yep.
Towson had a chance. That was a bummer, too. But when they have a chance, you go. Now, it's easier now to just plan that It was harder in 2002 to just wake up and decide we're just going to drive and go. Like, you needed to plan it ahead of time and things along those lines. Very, very frustrating to think about. Very frustrating. All right, today's show also brought to you by this one's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Football is who it's brought to you by. If you're not playing Underdog, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't know what it is that you care about. I don't know what your priorities are. And frankly, I'm not sure that you and I can be friends. It's just the way that it goes. Got plenty of great games for you to play. You can feel like you're betting despite the fact that you can't legally bet yet on your phone or on your computer. You can play player props, parlays, things of that nature with Underdog Fantasy Football. Again, UnderdogFantasy.com is the website, or download the Underdog Fantasy Football app. Get playing today with Underdog Fantasy Football. And when you use the code PRESSBOX, make your first deposit, we will match it with free money for you to play with up to $100 with Underdog Fantasy Football. And quickly, by the way, because it was asked from Chris, no, this is not me saying I wouldn't have Lamar Jackson on the show. If in the future Lamar wanted to come on, I'd love to have him on. But we just have to be able to ask whatever the relevant questions are. If they get the contract thing worked out next week, that won't be all that relevant come every now and then. Let me give you an example. I think I talked about it the other day. Sean Merriman's people one time. We've had Sean Merriman on a billion times. And one time Sean Merriman's people were like, hey, you can't talk to him about, and they said a girl's name that he was dating. And I was like, I had zero intention of talking to him about that. If today the Orioles said, you can have Ryan McKenna on, but you can't ask him about Will Smith and Chris Rock, I would say, cool. That's not something I intend to ask Ryan McKenna about. But if they said, but you can't talk to him about baseball, I would probably say, pass. Like, what would we talk about? You know, that's the if whatever point he wants to come back on, I'd love to have him on. I'd love to make that happen. We will always be welcome. I just can't not ask the most relevant questions that need to be asked. That's all. That's it. All right, we'll come back in. We got to do our Friday features. We got to do Young Utes. We got to do Did This Really Happen? And Mike Tannenbaum's going to, speaking of Lamar Jackson, Mike Tannenbaum's going to join us in a bit. He thinks Lamar is brilliant when it comes to how he's handled all of this. We'll talk about all of it. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Come in for Glory Burgers, Glory Wings. There's glory for everyone at Glory Days Grill. Enjoy the award-winning burgers, ribs, and wings, or try our fresh salads, hand-cut salmon, or our scrumptious sandwiches. Yum! Come in for daily specials every weekday, like $7.99 burgers on Mondays, $6.99 nachos on Thursdays, and Taco Tuesdays. And watch all of your favorite games at Glory Days Grill with 25 screens and private speakers at every table, plus game day drink specials. Visit us at glorydaysgrill.com for a location near you. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
The newest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Maryland men's basketball's 2002 NCAA Tournament Championship, as Gary Williams reflects on how the program rose from the ashes of NCAA sanctions to the pinnacle of the sport, and why his perspective of the title run has changed now 2 decades later. Plus, Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, and the rest of the team relive the moments that ultimately led them to cutting down the nets in Atlanta. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
If you miss anything, don't forget that you can find whole shows later on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Podcasts. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, back in here on GCR. We were talking about the Baltimore Police Department a little bit earlier on. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good. BPDrecruit.org. Were you paying attention to that conversation last night, Jordan? Everybody talking about Giannis? No. All right. So Giannis apparently hit a buzzer-beating 3 last night, or a game-winning 3. I don't know. I wasn't. I was watching tennis last night. That was what got my attention. And so everybody starts talking about Giannis, and they're like, let me go poke over at Giannis's MVP odds. And they're like 7-1. And everybody's like, hey, man, this might be worth tossing a couple of bucks that way. The 7-1? Like, come on, what are we doing? So I said, all right, I guess I'll go take a look. So I wander over to the old. Oh, they've actually in the FanDuel Sportsbook, it's 6-1. I think that might be a bet worth making, my friends. I think that might be. I know I steered you wrong with John Moran earlier in the season. I really screwed that up. That's on me. I apologize. I got antsy in my pants. He had a big night. I just couldn't keep it in. I had to go throw a couple of dollars at John Morant. It's my fault, my mistake. They'll enjoy my $10 that I put on that. But Giannis at 6-1. I don't know if you know, he's Giannis. I think I might wander over to the old FanDuel Sportsbook. Other odds makers have shortened those odds after last night's game. But in the FanDuel Sportsbook, you can still get Giannis at 6-1 to be NBA MVP. And I think I might. I think I might do that dance while I'm down there on. Oh, I'm not there till Monday. I hope the odds don't shift significantly before Monday. I might do that dance with Giannis at some point this weekend. All right, who gets to go first this week? It's been so long since you've both been here. I don't know whose turn it is to go first.
Give it to Jordan.
You're going to let Jordan have it?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Oh, gross.
I had faith.
I know. I was doing all right,
Game.
too. Oh,
Feeling
that
it.
sucks. Hey, young Ute, speaking of betting, just if I could for a second, because some people make dumb decisions like throwing money at John Morant to be MVP of the NBA. Know the risks and have a plan before you start gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. What are the young Utes talking about today, Lil Jordan?
Tyga and Rob Kardashian.
I'm out. I'm out.
This is pretty funny.
Okay.
So, Black China tweeted out.
Black China is Rob Kardashian's ex, correct?
And Tyga has a kid with her, I'm pretty sure, too.
But didn't Tyga also have a... Wait, I thought Tyga had a...
Tyga has a lot of kids.
But wasn't one of them with one of the Jenners? Didn't he have a... I'm pretty sure Tyga, that was...
I don't think he had... I think he...
Dated
Kylie.
Yeah.
And that was kind
But
of the
you don't
reason
think they
why
have...
her and...
Okay, all right.
Might be.
All right, fair enough.
But I know that that's not her kid.
Okay, all right. Anyway, go ahead.
So, Black China tweeted, yesterday I had to give up 3 of my cars. My reasons, morals, beliefs, being a single mother, no support, I'm a mama. And Black China goes, single, no support, no child support. So Tyga then goes, I pay $40K a year for my son's school, and he lives with me Monday through Saturday. Why would I pay child support? And then Rob Kardashian goes, I pay $37K a year for my daughter's school. I handle every medical expense. I pay for her extracurricular activities, and I have her Tuesday through Saturday. Why would I pay child support? And then Tyga goes back, who's your plug? Let me know so I can get a $3K discount.
Okay. I mean, I don't really care, but like it's funny.
It's funny.
You're not wrong
Yeah,
that it's funny. I mean, people
I was
actually
laughing.
That seems as a silly tweet more than it's like actually all that
The
interesting.
Shade Room posted about it, so.
Oh,
I'd-
no, I'd have to say that.
I don't know what the
people do care about
what's
that
the
then.
shade room.
It's literally they just cover celebrity BS, and they're like a new. They call themselves a news organization.
Okay, I have nothing.
They have 26 million followers. So
I
26
believe you.
million.
I just have nothing to offer to the conversation, unfortunately, because I don't know about any of these.
You've
these
never paid child support before?
No, I've never. I'm an active. I'm not taking anybody away from anybody who's co-parenting. God bless. Do your thing. But I am. I do still. My wife and I are still good for now. For now, we're still. Could change any day. Let's make that abundantly clear. We were having a whole fight about the recycling bin the other day. Like it could change it. We got into it yesterday. This is a fight we got into. This is what you have to look forward to when you're married for this long, Paul. So I know you guys, I think, are still in the honeymoon phase for the most part. Like, you give it a few years. Yesterday, at no point, I try to be home between 6 and 6:30, so that dinner is no later than 6:30. At 5:45 yesterday, I'm at the gym. The gym is 10 minutes from my house. So my plan was to stay at the gym until 6, work out from 5 to 6, and then be home by 6:15 for dinner. At 5:45, she starts blowing up my phone. I'm like, oh my God, something must be wrong. Like, what the hell's going on? So I get off whatever the piece of I don't even know what I was doing at the time. I jump off it. I'm like, oh God, and I wander away, and I got to figure out if the call's gonna go through my earbuds or not. I'm all panicked. You got to walk away because you don't want to interrupt other people. Call. I'm like, what's wrong, baby? Where are you? I'm at the gym. Well, dinner's ready. Okay. Why aren't you here? It's 5:45. Well, are you coming? Is there an emergency or not?
I would do that.
God!
I was at the gym on.
She said, well, if I knew you weren't going to be home until 6:15, I wouldn't have put the noodles in now. I'm like, there's not a time that I'm home. That's not a thing. You're making something up.
I was at the gym on Monday, and my workout. So usually I like to go to the. Excuse me. Usually,
Paul and I just try to brag. We work out. That's all this is. We just want people to believe that we
usually
work out.
I get up at
know.
6:30 and I go to the gym before the show. Well, I did this on Monday, and the workout was longer than I knew that it was supposed to be, and I had to split it up. So I went to the gym in the morning. I came to do the show. I went home. I watched a little Orioles baseball, and after the game, I went back to the gym to finish the
Now,
workout.
I will question your usage of time in that way. You chose to watch a baseball game. That doesn't mean anything. That's kind of on you.
Mass is only airing 3.
It meant something to him.
And Jorge Mateo's
Listen,
on.
he Cass trying to defend you. Listen,
Cass has got my back all the time.
it's real weird.
And so we have a Ring camera for the doorbell, and the wife can see me whenever she wants if I'm in the living room. So I get up and I leave, and I get a text message from her. She's at work. She's not home. She's at work. Did you just go to the gym? I said, yeah.
And if I did,
She said, why do you have to go twice in a day? And I said, why does it matter? You're not home.
It's part of the problem. My wife doesn't want me going to the gym once in a day. She hates that I go to the gym because she wants me to die. Like, I'm convinced of it.
She wants you to be like fat and
Yes. It's a whole different conversation, Cassidy.
No, I
it's
get
a
it.
deeper.
Probably so you don't attract
100%.
ladies.
It has everything to do with that.
The Walmart
She
shopping.
just wants me to be fat and ugly and die. That's all
get
she
it.
wants.
Take the
And
money.
she doesn't
For all that Glenn Clark
yeah,
money that
right.
you had growing
What is she
up.
even gonna get from that?
That internet
Jesus.
radio money.
Well,
You know it's lucrative.
On top of that, when I got to the gym,
That's why
this
we're
was
paying you so well.
about 6:15, 6:30. The entire parking lot is full, and I go to the Bel Air Athletic Club, so it's a big gym.
Yeah.
Every member in the history of the Bel Air Athletic Club was at the gym at this moment. I couldn't even have a place to put my gym bag down.
That's
so I'm
awkward.
already irritated, and then she's texting me, why did you have to go back to the gym a second time?
Don't
So
worry.
it led to a big fight.
I'm good. You worry about you. I'm good. And if you want to go ahead and eat dinner, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Just go ahead and eat dinner. I'll be home when I'm home. I'll scrounge around and then find something for myself. My God.
Yeah, I don't think I'm meant for marriage because I don't care.
That's fine.
I'm very like, I'm going to do my thing, you do your thing, we'll meet up at the
You don't
end.
care now because you're 20.
Yeah, there is some. My wife didn't care about these things when I first met her either. This was not a thing that would have
A
happened.
lot changes
But
in
There's
the
I
next
feel like
something-
when
20
you're
years.
married, you're just like so on top of each other that I'm just going to be like, I need 10 minutes of you to just leave me.
There's a lot of that. Now imagine throwing kids into the equation. Now imagine throwing kids into the
Good
equation.
luck pooping ever again.
Yep.
Ew, what?
Well,
I
girls,
need
okay,
privacy.
girls
I
don't
even
poop, of
Yeah.
course.
That's
Yeah, girls
crazy.
don't poop. That's
I don't even know what that
stop
is.
that. All right, number 2.
Spy Kids is being
Ooh.
rebooted on Netflix.
We care.
Okay, all right.
By Robert Rodriguez.
Yay.
He I don't. Do you know him?
I'm yes, I'm very
he-
familiar with Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so he directed
No,
3
from-
episodes of Disney's Star Wars series.
No, I did not know that.
But yeah, so
Robert Rodriguez is a legend. He was he from Dusk Till Dawn? I want to make sure I have the correct films.
Wrong.
What? He did.
Absolutely wrong.
He did Desperado. He did From Dusk Till Dawn. Yes, he did.
Did not.
Yes, he did. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
He did From Dusk Till Dawn, as I thought. He did Sin City. He did Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Robert Rodriguez is an icon, but I didn't. Spy Kids was after me. I was already into adulthood when Spy Kids was a thing, so it means zero to me. It might mean something to my kids. It just doesn't mean anything to me
The
whatsoever.
little boy in it
Yes.
is married to Meghan Trainor, and it's so cute. Just thought you should know.
Who
Fun
is
fact.
he? Does he have a name?
Daryl Sabata.
Oh, there you go. I was unaware.
Cute.
Okay. All right. Jeez, easy
But-
over there.
But
God.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, he did was an executive producer on a short-lived animated Spy Kids series, Mission Critical, in 2018.
Uh-huh.
Don't know,
Yeah, that
but
was a thing.
But you guys are
yeah,
excited about
I'm-
this.
I'm
You guys
excited.
are
Yeah.
you guys are
Love it.
amped up for the
Mhm.
Spy Kids.
I hope they bring back the thumb people.
You're really excited about Spy Kids.
I grew
Cass
up
in
on that.
particular is
I grew
really
up on
excited
that. That
about
was,
Spy
like,
Kids.
Classic.
Oh yeah,
I was
that's
like,
2 for 2. Yeah, you're a winner. Damn. Now-
I could go 3 for 3.
You could.
well, yeah, but you
Bring
could
it
also
on.
just throw this one away now. You already got
I-
the win. You
No,
could just
bring it
you could
on.
just share something
I
stupid
could.
that you care
Bring it on,
about.
This-
Jordan.
I could. I got into a Twitter fight about the Orioles this week. But
Why?
That,
Why?
I'll do that. This one was Sydney Sweeney, but I like my Twitter fight.
Oh, you smart
Twitter.
man.
Sydney Sweeney is from Euphoria,
fight more.
correct?
Yeah.
Everyone
It
cares
was-
about that.
All it was her grandparents came to the premiere. There's a lot of nudity, obviously.
Yeah.
So one of the reporters was like, "How did your grandpa feel about that?"
Yeah, that's a good question.
And he goes, my grandparents said I have the best tits in Hollywood.
That is disgusting. That is disgusting. That is so gross. Stop it right now. If my grandfather ever said that, I think I would pass away. Are you kidding?
I can't. Okay. There's so many. Hang on. Stop for a second. There's a couple layers here. Do you think she just said that to try to get a rise out of the interviewer? Like, do you think it's possible that it's
she
not
is very
real?
open about how everyone around her says she has a phenomenal body, including her parents and
Oh, man,
grandparents.
there's some evidence
So-
of that. There's some
Okay,
there's
well,
some
I think
evidence.
a lot of people care about this just because like dudes are in love with her boobs. And then like there's like all about TikTok. And like I feel bad for the poor girl because there's also like a lot of people that are like, yeah, but she has no ass. She only has tits. And I'm like, okay.
This,
like,
this is. I can't believe Lamar Jackson didn't want to come on this show. I can't believe.
and her
he
dad watched
decided
it
to-
too. She watched it with her dad. Like she
Somebody,
sat and watched it with her dad.
somebody asked me that. They were like, and I don't have a daughter, so it's not a concern of mine. They were like, if you had a daughter, would you be able to do that? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
No,
I
can
think
promise
I think
no.
this is I think this is where you're gonna end up being. If you understand that, like, I see more little boy penis in my life than I see anything else in the world, which is a sentence that if we just cut out and separated would get me onto an FBI
Let's cut
list,
that and
right?
clip it on
Like,
this show.
like I would, but it's reality for me because at any moment of the day, my kids might just decide it's time to run around naked. And in a weird way, I think as a parent, you just sort of become so accustomed to it that it ain't even weird to you. Like, it's actually, I'm not kidding about this. It would be weirder if it was her friend. It would be weirder.
Disagree.
If it,
completely disagree.
I think you need to get back to me when you have kids.
Okay, no,
I think you need to get back to me when you have
kids. If my dad
kids.
is watching, I hope he comments because you have to picture this, right?
But I also think the comedy helps diffuse the situation. I do. I disagree. I think it's weirder if you're just sitting there and you say nothing.
No. I'm telling you right now, my dad has 2 baby girls.
Is this a plan of yours? Like you're planning to do season 3 of Euphoria?
Like, my dad grew up with
what
2
season are we
baby
on?
girls.
3.
3, yeah.
And yeah, like my dad's obviously seen me like when I was like
I understand
4 or 5,
that, but
we kind of grow.
I know.
Things.
I'm very aware. I know how anatomy works.
Uncomfortable situation. My dad doesn't even like it if my sister's not wearing like a bra in the house, like he'll be like, "You need to put on a bra," because like it's just an uncomfortable thing. to, like, be around.
I'm not trying to tell you that it's comfortable. Nobody's trying to suggest that it's I'm telling you, right? I get weirded. I reached an age. There was an age when Facebook first came along. It was very exciting for me because all of my friends would start posting pictures of themselves in bikinis on Facebook in the summer, and I was like, "This is wonderful. This is such a great thing to have happened in my life." And then an age came along where their little sisters were posting pictures in bikinis, and then I said, I'm uncomfortable now. Now I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this any longer. I want off of this damn application because I don't know if this is okay or not. And I'm telling you, there's something more after a certain age, there's something more uncomfortable about that.
All I'm saying is if I played Cassie on Euphoria and I knew that I had nudity, I would never voluntarily be like, "Hey, Dad, do you want to come watch my show?"
Wait a second, though. But are you not proud of your work?
Not if my whole tits are out on the show. I'm not having my father.
But you signed up. You agreed to do the show.
And they're pretty explicit sex scenes.
For some guy named Jerry in Texas to watch it, not my father, who I
Poor
came
Jerry.
from.
I know, right? How do we get? Do we mix? Jerry seems like a good guy. I don't know why we're throwing him under the bus.
Watching Euphoria, don't shame
yeah,
Jerry.
right.
Crazy, and I don't care. It's meant for him, but it is not meant for my father. I can't even.
But it's your work. It's what you're doing.
But it's your dog.
Yeah. Wait, it's got to be your bull.
Does not matter.
I don't know,
You know
man.
what? I hope Paul and Jordan both have girls. I hope they both have girls.
Wait, why? Why do I get lumped into this? What did I do?
Not something I'm gonna have to worry about ever again. I'm good. I'm Dunsky. Took care of that whole thing.
You have girls.
Won't be happening for your boy.
Don't you put your voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby.
I'm just saying, I hope you two have girls, and let me know how that goes when you see her tits in a show and how you guys.
We have
feel.
just used
We are
that
really,
so
we are
much.
blowing
I
past.
should have just led with
My God.
my Orioles tweets.
What? By the way, John Colson just closed the door to his office. I think he might be having a meeting of some sort, and went here just talking
yelling
about
TNA.
What a day! What a day!
I did
All
get
right.
in a Twitter fight.
What's that?
I got into the Twitter fight because people, all these.
After the conversation we just had, this is where we're going.
all these reporters are trashing the Orioles for their low payroll and everything, and then the fake Orioles fans proceed to come into the comments and they're like, "Yeah, the Orioles aren't spending any money," and then one guy was like, "Well, we're rebuilding right now, and we're kind of like the Astros," and then. I think it was, I don't know which reporter said someone was like, "Well, they're not the Astros." And the guy was like, "Well, they kind of have most of the pieces from the Astros rebuild in their
So how does this
office."
involve you?
Because then I hop in and I'm like, keep your same energy saying that the Orioles are a trash
you're doing that,
franchise.
guy.
And then a Red Sox fan comes in and he goes, "Well, why do you support this pathetic franchise when they're afraid to spend money?" And I said something about the Carlos Correa thing and how they wanted to offer him a deal, and he was like, "That hasn't been validated by any sources. It's just a myth." And I was just like, "I'm leaving this alone."
I would say it's probably not worth it.
Yeah.
Probably
I was
not
like,
worth.
This guy does not pay attention.
You have anything else you could do with your day?
Just a bunch of men sitting on couches
This was like
Hang on a second. One of the greatest tweets of all time was the tweet that said like, boys can literally just sit around naming old athletes and have the best time of their life. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly.
I've done this.
We have had my buddy Brandon and I sat there in his office one night at Rams Head Live just naming old athletes, and we just couldn't have had a better time for that hour. Just the best time ever.
In my best friend's kitchen, just naming old Oreo.
Yeah.
Pete and Cavilla.
Deadspin used to do this a bit. They just used to, every week, there used to be a Deadspin bit. They were like, let's name some guys. And the entire post was just names of random athletes. And it was wonderful.
My old group chat, we all, there's moments in time where we'll just go on naming Orioles from like 2000 to like now to present, from when we were born to now. And we'll just start spitballing names. And it's like, Felix P.A., Melvin Mora,
sure.
Just random. And
we couldn't come up with Paul Bacco, though. Couldn't come up with Paul Bacco.
The forgotten soldier.
Yeah, right. Couldn't come up with that one.
Fallen.
All right, I don't know what just happened there. I don't know what. I have no idea what this show is. I don't. Yeah, you were very. Cass got something off her. Oh God, I was about to say off her chest, but that hit a little too close to home. God, that wasn't. I didn't even intend that.
It was great. I liked it.
God, Cass really. She had something she wanted to say about this particular topic this morning, and so she said it. Is Mike Tannenbaum calling us, or are we calling him? What's the story on all that? I don't know. You were the one who booked it, so
I
you gotta
believe
tell me.
we're calling him.
All right. Well,
I didn't
why
know
don't
if you
we
wanted to
go
get
ahead?
a break or.
I would have loved to, but I think we've blown. Just go ahead. What the hell are we doing at this point? What are we doing here? Why does anybody listen to this show?
This is actually a Euphoria fan page.
That's what it is now. We're just going to be all Euphoria all the time. Today's show is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today. Let's try to regain some composure after all of that. Might be difficult. Might be tough. Now, earlier this week, Mike Tannenbaum was on ESPN and, had some effusive praise of Lamar Jackson. And not just, a lot of people effusively praise Lamar Jackson as a player. He was effusively praising the way that he's handling his contract situation, saying, in fact, that he could be a Hall of Fame agent. Joining us now, tell us a little bit more about why he feels that way, is the aforementioned former NFL general manager, now ESPN analyst. It's a pleasure to welcome back into the program Mr. Mike Tannenbaum, who's with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn and Paul in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, sir. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Great to be with you guys.
It's good to have you on, Mike. I certainly understand that Lamar Jackson, by not racing to do a deal, has allowed the quarterback market to escalate. And we, of course, all saw what Deshaun Watson did, and which is, utterly insane, but that's the way it works. All it takes is one team, and once they do that, that's where the market goes. I guess my follow-up question would be, but is he still brilliant if he doesn't sign before the season and he plays this season at a lesser number of $24 million, hoping to chase future money and not taking money now when he has the opportunity to?
Yeah, that's all up to him, and if you ask 10 people, you may get, 10 different, slightly different opinions. So, it's something that he bet on himself, and he's won, and in my opinion, won big because he's a great player. He's in the prime of his career. He's a former MVP, and, Deshaun Watson certainly helped him in a marketable way. So Kirk Cousins showed us historically that when you bet on yourself as a quarterback and you don't even have to play great, you just play reasonably good, it's really unbelievable what can happen.
The comparison to Deshaun Watson, one of the things we've been discussing this week, Mike, is it seems to me like this is setting a new precedent, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of being able to get money and then get money again as the market changes. Deshaun Watson did not need a contract, but the Browns were desperate. I mean, they needed a quarterback, and there are a lot of desperate teams. Are we entering an era where quarterbacks could do a deal, like Lamar Jackson could do a deal now, and then if the market shifts again significantly and in 2 years there's a $75 million quarterback, he could go back and say, yeah, I don't care how long my deal was. We got to do this now because I've got all the leverage here.
Well, he'll continue to have leverage because there's only about, in my opinion, 18 or 19 quarterbacks on the planet, and that includes people like Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. So as long as he's in the top 18 or 19, and there's 32 NFL teams, he'll always be in that position.
I mean, that's the sense that I get, right? Is that so? I guess my question then would be, like, at what point is there any advantage to waiting? Like, couldn't he do a deal now at this number and let the market go up, and then go back and say, okay, now it's time to do another deal, and always be in the upper echelon of money that he's making?
Yeah, I mean, I think why he waited is, if you had me on a month ago and you said to me, you know, could Lamar Jackson get $230 million in guarantees? I would have looked at you like you had six heads.
Right.
No way.
Right.
And it's changed. So by waiting, he's done great. And here's the irony is Kyle Murray's agent would have made a massive mistake if Arizona acted on what Kyle Murray's agent wanted. He would have cost himself millions of dollars in guarantees.
He is Mike Tannenbaum. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. We're talking about Lamar Jackson's situation. Mike, you know, I think there are still going to be people who would say, look, Cleveland was just desperate. This can't be the new standard for contracts. But people said that Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to create a new standard, and it's pretty clear that did. Once we've gone here, is there any going back? Is there any ability for the rest of the teams to get together and say, you know, Steve Bisciotti the other day at the owners' meeting was like, well, we don't necessarily have to play that game. Is he right about that, or is this going to be now the way this works, that every quarterback is going to have to get a fully guaranteed contract?
Yeah, look, you don't have to join a country club. Like, no one mandates it.
Right.
You just when you go to it, you got to pay the bill.
Right.
You don't have to have Lamar Jackson on your team. But if you want to be in that world of having a great young quarterback, you got to pay the bill. I mean, it's not that hard. Like, I made this point on ESPN, guys. It's really easy. Lamar walks in, he puts his feet up on the table and says, hey, guys, I don't want $1 more than Deshaun Watson.
Right.
But, oh, by the way, I'm not taking $1 less.
100%.
So here's the bill. If you want to pay it, wonderful. If you don't, wonderful. Just tell me what you want to do. Like, this isn't very hard.
You will hear the argument from some. You brought up the Kirk Cousins thing. You will hear that argument that the best thing you can do is go through this and get the true free agency. The point that I've made this week is that I think all quarterbacks essentially are free agents because of the leverage that they have. Is it truly better for Lamar to try to get to natural free agency somehow, some way, or is it closer to the idea at this point that, hell, any quarterback can be a free agent just by saying, it's time for me to get more money, knowing they have every team held over a barrel?
Yeah, well, I think context here is important. Like, let's face it, Deshaun Watson's very unique for a lot of reasons, including we can't minimize the fact that there's still 22 civil lawsuits pending against him. So, you know, there's that. And a player will always do better when they have true free agency versus saying, hey, I want a new deal. So, again, you go back to Kyler Murray's situation. I know he was kicking and screaming for a new deal, but you could simply make the argument that him waiting and playing it out. And by the way, like, in 2 years, like, with the gambling money coming on, like, who knows where the salary cap's going to be. So sometimes waiting is effective even for a quarterback.
I wonder, I think there's the comparison might have been made to the NBA where, like, the top stars in the NBA are now essentially all working on, like, a series of one-year deals. That, like, we understand wherever the money moves, we're going with it. Can you see the quarterback position? It clearly can't be every position because, you know, the salary cap won't allow for that. But could you see the NFL almost becoming similar with the quarterback position where the players all recognize they've got the leverage and they kind of create an NBA system where, like, hey, we'll sign a contract, but every year we're going to watch where the money's going, and if the money's going a certain way, we're going there with it.
Well, I think there's some players that can do that, and they could sign short-term deals and continue to bet on themselves and backfill it with massive, you know, endorsement deals. I don't think there's any question about that. But the big difference between the sports is that's a very small percentage of NFL players. So from a macro standpoint, I don't see the system changing that dramatically.
Mike, is there a point at which the Baltimore Ravens, if Lamar Jackson truly is hell-bent on getting to natural free agency, is there a point at which they have to start thinking about trading him and trying to maximize his value that way? Can a team really play along with the idea of let's just give it our best shot for a couple of years, or do they have to start looking around and saying, well, if Deshaun Watson got 3 first-round picks and he's got 22, as you pointed out, lawsuit, allegations pending against him, do they have to start thinking about something like that?
Yeah, I think. Look, I have been a long admirer of their organization, the talent on that team, and I just think they're a really good team, a really good organization, and as long as they have Lamar Jackson, they have a chance to win. I think the only time you do that is you're Seattle and you say, hey, we can't win even with Russell Wilson, but I'm just hard pressed to think why in the world would you trade Lamar Jackson if you're them?
I understand that, and I think it's an interesting. Like, if he just walks, right? Like, do you end up, and you don't win a Super Bowl in the process, do you end up looking foolish that you didn't explore that?
Yeah, again, the way I look at it is that they have a really good program. They have a really good culture. They got a great head coach.
Yeah.
And you got Lamar Jackson. You're lucky to have him. Go win with him.
I mean, but by all means, I'm all for them trying to go win with Lamar Jackson, Mike. I think that's a heck of an idea. I know this is a nitty-gritty one, but I guess with that said, you would use the exclusive rights tag then on Lamar Jackson, correct? Because you wouldn't want to risk the idea. We were talking yesterday about the thought that in like the second year, you might just be willing to take 2. If you know you can't sign him anyway, you might just be willing to take 2 first-round picks for a player that you only have 1 year left with in order to keep the number down. Would you be choosing the higher tag number and using the exclusive rights tag if this is the case?
Yeah, I mean, that's way down the line, but you certainly could tag him once, maybe even twice. It just also depends on who else is in that year's draft, who else is comfortable giving up multiple first-round picks. There's a lot that goes into that. But that's certainly an interesting discussion for, a year or 2 from now.
Mike, is the point that is what the Rams and the Buccaneers have done the last 2 years, especially given where quarterback contract numbers are. Are we entering more of an era where teams should be more focused on the now? And it's so un-Ravens-like, right? As you point out, like they are constantly thinking about being in contention every year. But is there a point at which we have to say, hey, you got to maximize the quarterback, and when you've got him, you got to focus on the now and not worry about the long term? Are they showing us a new blueprint for how to win in the NFL?
Yeah, but I think you can do both, and I think, but for like a historic amount of injuries, I think the Ravens have done a reasonably good job of that. Again, their focus on compensatory picks is great. They let players graduate. They keep some. I think they've done a good job of, discerning, who you keep and who you have to move on from.
All right. I mean, we've certainly respected it. They've been, obviously one of the top organizations in all of football since their existence. And so there's a reason why they do really well. Mike, can this bubble burst at some point? Is there a point at which, when we have these quarterback conversations, is there a number at which it just can't keep escalating? There's simply no way for it to work? Or, if the cap grows, it's just going to keep going, and at some point we're going to end up talking about a quarterback who's making $100 million a year?
Yeah, that's a great question. Here's what's interesting about that, in my opinion, is I think logically, yes, it should. At some point, you're going to be playing with free agents, and if you're taking too much from an allocation standpoint, it's probably not worth it. The problem is the psychology of a team that, I was on the Jets and Dolphins for a number of years. We went after Brett Favre.
Right.
If you're competing against Tom Brady and you don't have one, the premium you're willing to pay is pretty significant.
No doubt. And that's what goes back to why I feel you have all the leverage if you're the quarterback, right? Because, like, the biggest fear that an NFL team can have at the moment is not having a quarterback, right?
That's right. If you don't have one and you're in the AFC North and you're facing Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and you're the Cleveland Browns, that's why you're paying the premium for Deshaun Watson.
Exactly right.
Not just because you think he's great. It's because to get to where you want to go, you have no hope if you don't have a guy like him.
There's no doubt about it. Those poor, lowly, listless Pittsburgh Steelers, we feel terrible for them right now, Mike. We just feel wretched for them, a moribund franchise. I mean, just an awful feeling they've got to have at the moment. Mike, is there anything we can plug for you, my friend? Anything you got going on besides ESPN that we can talk up for you?
Yeah, well, I'm part of an organization called the 33rd Team. If you go to our website, the33rdteam.com, we have a free newsletter, and it's comprised of people that have made decisions in the league, be it head coaches, GMs, and all our content's free, and we just try to put out content that people will find interesting and hopefully differentiated because it's put out by people that have actually, made the decisions.
Again, the 3013 is where you can find that. At Real Tannenbaum on Twitter is how you follow him. Mike Tannenbaum, appreciate the insight, my friend. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's such an interesting topic.
No question. Appreciate it.
He is Mike Tannenbaum. You can follow him again at Real Tannenbaum, and then it's the 33rd Team at THE33RDTEMFB at the 33rd Team FB on Twitter, or the33rdteam.com at THE33RDteam.com. I feel like this is the weird part about the conversation. I feel like we're saying all the same things, but yet we're afraid to take the next step. Like, he's saying everything I'm saying, which is the quarterbacks have all the leverage.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still doing but you're still better off being a free agent. Are you? Or why are we afraid of saying the thing? It's like there's this unspoken thing that I'm the only guy that's saying. It's the same conversation with Greg Rosenthal the other day. We're all saying the same things, but we're leaving out the part. Well, you got to get the free agency to have all the leverage.
You're leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table.
You're trading off. You're choosing to make less money this season by not executing the leverage that you have. You've got it. Use it.
And you can still get the leverage, like you've been saying all week, you can still use that leverage to get another contract really whenever the hell you want.
And I feel like it's because we haven't started seeing it yet that we're just sort of pretending like it's taboo, like it's something that players wouldn't or shouldn't do. Why not? Why shouldn't any player walk in and say, the market has changed, that means my value has changed? If Patrick Mahomes is watching other quarterbacks get $60, $70 million, why in the world should Patrick Mahomes just say, yeah, but I signed my contract. Got to be a good soldier. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and I like the question that you asked where does it reach a number where it's just like, all right, enough's enough? You look at Alex Rodriguez back in 2001 when he signed with the Texas Rangers. He signed them for 10 years, $252 million. And only now, 21 years later, are we seeing players start to
$350 million.
Get to $40
right.
million. Maybe it slows itself down. At some point, they might just have to step in and say, this is ridiculous.
I just think it's unique to the quarterback position. To me, it continues to be there's got to be a percentage marker at which the quarterback. This is the thing that Greg and I were talking about the other day. The funny thing is that the reality is that quarterbacks are really worth 51% of your overall cap.
Without one, you don't win.
Because of that simple math. The math is that simple. If you have a quarterback, you have a chance. If you don't have a quarterback, you have no chance. So with no offense to everybody else, who's all important, and it can't just be that you only have a quarterback, you have to put a team together. But you could put the best team together in football history, but if you line that team up and ask Mitchell Trubisky to go win with it, you're effed. One position matters that much more. So by mathematical equations, the quarterback position is actually worth more like 50 to 51% of your cap. But as we point out, no quarterback has ever taken individually 15% of a cap that a team has won a Super Bowl with. So how do we make these things mix? To me, it's always going to be about where the cap number is and how much of that cap a quarterback can soak up, especially if we're going to start doing the thing where we move it from year to year. I don't know what it is. I don't know when the bubble – I don't know when a team says – we can't. Right. We can't. I don't know.
Wouldn't it make sense, and maybe this is just spitballing, I think you said something along these lines a few weeks back, where you have your salary cap for your team, and then you have another tier that's just for the quarterback, and maybe you base how much you can pay your quarterback
it's been
based
an idea,
on how close to your cap you are.
It's been an idea that's been thrown around a ton. I mean, like the problem is the union wouldn't love it because, like, are you forcing teams to spend a certain money on their quarterback? Because if you're the Falcons right now, you sure as F don't want to pay for Marcus Mariota what it is that the Bills are paying for Josh Allen. So, that's the tricky part about separating these things. If you give the teams the choice of whether or not they want to spend that much money on their quarterback, then there might be teams that choose they don't want to. And they might try to drive quarterback prices down that way.
And there's got to be tiers. I would imagine there'd have to be tiers in that specific area based on performance.
And that's where it gets really tricky. It's very tricky to do something like that. It's an idea that's been thrown around by a bunch of very intelligent people to separate the quarterback position from the that's just you. To separate the quarterback position from the salary cap. And it's a heck of an idea. It just has to be better defined. And at some point it might have to be the way that it works, but the teams are going to keep saying, well, on the whole, we can only spend so much money on players no matter how we do this. If we separate the quarterback position from the salary cap, we're still going to be limited by how much money we can give quarterbacks. We're going to be limited by how much money we can give to the players as a whole if we're still going to be profitable. And the players are going to say, not our problem, right? Like, give us our money. Right now, we only get 50% of it. Give us 80% of all the revenues. The teams are going to say, well, then that won't work. We have to have a staff. We have to do, social media. We have to make food. We have to hire security. We have to have people come make pretzels in the stadium. Like we have to do all those things in order to operate as a franchise. We can't give you 80% of the total profits. Right. This is going to continue to be a debate for forever because of it. The one thing I'm convinced of is that the quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson is a game changer because he didn't need a deal. He got a deal, despite the fact that he's not even worthy of a deal, and he got the most lucrative deal in the history of humanity.
I legitimately, when I saw that contract, thought, wow, they just screwed every other team in the history of football.
This is where you are now. And you can try to collude. You can try to get 31 other teams together and say, okay, guys, we're not doing that, right? Until the next one that's desperate for a quarterback says, well, this is what we got to do. Mm-hmm. We don't have a choice.
The Browns, man.
Sorry, this is the way it's going to go. So it's reality. And the notion of players just choosing not to use the leverage they have is insane. I mean, it's reckless for them. Imagine having that much power. I'll never have that much power, as we know earlier. All I can do is pretend like I play the washboard, and I used to be good at pop-a-shot basketball. I don't have that much power. On the Pro Tour, believe it or not, we didn't unionize. We really screwed up on the pop-a-shot Pro Tour. We really made a lot of mistakes in how we handled things. I can't fathom what that power must be like. Who has this type of leverage? The Avengers? Like, honest to God, the upper echelon of NBA players have this type of leverage. Because unless you have a star, no one's going... There are teams that have stars and still nobody goes to watch the games. If you're a team that exists without any sort of star power, nobody's coming to watch you. That's what the league is built off of, is you have to have superstars. So the stars, the upper echelon stars in the NBA have created this insane amount of leverage where they're like, literally, we can get wherever the cap goes, we go with it every year. We're making this amount, rip it up. Next year we make this amount.
And then they set out games for management.
100%. They have that much leverage, my dude. They have that much leverage.
Load management, excuse me.
That's where the NFL quarterbacks can go if they choose to use it. But right now, we're talking about it like they're not going to choose to use. Well, you're just better off going to free agency. Why? Why are you better going to free agency than walking in today and saying, I don't need to wait. I don't need to lose any money in the process. I demand you pay me or you move me to the next team that would be more than happy to do it. The Browns were desperate. The Falcons thought they could get Deshaun Watson. How desperate do you think they are? And I get it. It comes with also having to trade draft picks. But that's the price. Because on the flip side, you don't have a quarterback.
I think that trading your draft picks is becoming more and more popular.
That's what I'm talking about with the Rams and the Buccaneers thing. I am
it's going to be more the norm.
I'm more and more convinced the teams are going to look at it and say, we just got to sell out.
Yeah.
We got a quarterback right now. We got to sell out and get the right. We can't keep worrying about 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road.
Especially if it wins you a Super Bowl. Like
and again, there's no guarantee, and that's the problem. You could be chasing something that can never pan out. This is like what we talk about following the Astros blueprint that Jordan's fighting about on Twitter because he's got nothing else to do. You're following the Astros blueprint. Okay, well, it might not work.
Yeah.
Like, it just might not. Other teams have tried to rebuild, and how's it going for the Phillies? It's been a struggle.
They got a good squad this year.
That's fine, but have they won anything to this point?
Nope.
Like they got to the part where they started spending billions of dollars on baseball players.
Yep.
The rebuild is not remotely a guarantee that you can make it work. But there's a blueprint, and other teams can follow that blueprint. All right, we're still planning on chatting with Ryan McKenna before today's show wraps up. It has also been brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Last night, if you missed it, Stan and Gary Stein caught up with Baltimore Blast head coach David Bascom, an emotional conversation, a powerful conversation about his life story, new book he has coming out called Red Card that details some of the terrible things that he experienced in his youth and how he kind of came out on the other side of it. It was a really powerful chat. You can find it right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, or PressBoxOnline.com/video. When we come back in, Cass has got to go through, did this really happen? I've been slumping in recent weeks when it comes to did this really happen. So we'll do that, and Ryan McKenna still to join us. That's all on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people, people like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets with Glenn Clark and Paul Valley every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Bruce Billick and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and even a few winners. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday at 11:40 a.m. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Come in for Glory Burgers, Glory Wings. There's glory for everyone at Glory Days Grill. Enjoy the award-winning burgers, ribs, and wings, or try our fresh salads, hand-cut salmon, or our scrumptious sandwiches. Yum! Come in for daily specials every weekday, like $7.99 burgers on Mondays, $6.99 nachos on Thursdays, and Taco Tuesdays. And watch all of your favorite games at Glory Days Grill with 25 screens and private speakers at every table, plus game day drink specials. Visit us at glorydaysgrill.com for a location near you. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Baseball is back. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
You can find us live every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon talking all things Orioles and Major League Baseball.
Like the debuts of Adley Rutschman and Grayson Rodriguez.
And how the rotation and bullpen are rounding into form. Watch us live at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and facebook.com/PressBoxSports.
Or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio.
That's the Bat Around, live with the latest in baseball coverage every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
We can't imagine why you'd want to, but you can watch GCR live. It's at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And try to guess whether these guys are wearing any pants.
What are you asking? What are you asking, Cass? What is the game that you can't come up with? What is it?
It's like this long strip.
Uh-huh.
It's like a wooden table. It's like a smaller version of a pool table, but like longer.
Yes, it's shuffleboards.
I don't think
yes,
so.
it is.
And there's like sand on the outside
yes.
of it. And they're
that's shuffleboards.
Like, and you just like.
You guys are stupid.
That's shuffleboard.
Have you ever been to a bar?
Yeah, I played it at a bar.
Yes,
No, I
she's
didn't.
19.
Oh, right, yeah.
20. She's 20.
Shuffleboard's the
No, not
you
the
do on
old
cruise
person. No, not
ships.
that. It's not. That's also called shuffleboards. But yes, when you the pucks that you toss down to the other side, it's called.
I like
Yes.
the
It's a
old
lot of
person.
fun.
You're really into.
It's really fun. Played
It
for
is
2 hours one
quite a
time.
bit of fun. I don't know what just happened there. Anyway, back in here on GCR. Let's head down to Sarasota right now as the Orioles are going to play another game this afternoon. I don't believe he's in the lineup for today's game, but he's had a very nice spring. We've seen him hit some mammoth home runs after he made his MLB debut a year ago. It's a pleasure to welcome back into GCR Mr. Ryan McKenna, who's back with us now. Ryan, it's Glenn and Paul in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you as always, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Everything is good. We got to get to the hard-hitting journalistic questions right at the top of this. All right. Did I hear you got a haircut, man?
I did. Yep.
What the heck? I quote the American classic Superbad. It's like spitting in the face of God. What are you doing, brother?
Yeah. So at this off season, this winter, I had some weddings I had to go to, so I felt like the need to clean it up a little bit was there, but. Who knows? We could grow it back, and we'll see how that is in the future.
I'd like to hope that will return to our lives. There was nothing quite like seeing some Ryan McKenna flow going on. What? So who does it matter to? Ryan, are you married?
I am not. No.
Okay. Is there someone whose opinion is significant in your life when it comes to the hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a girl there that would probably prefer it a little more cleaned up.
Oh, that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart, Ryan McKenna. Hey, man, how's everything going? Everything good? I mean, you and I didn't get to chat after you got to make the debut last season. What was it like for you to be up, to live out the dream, and to know that all of the work that you put in has paid off for you, and you're here, and this is your story now?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great experience. I think, just taking away all the things that I went through and, just kind of analyzing it and going into the winter with a good mindset and, really just coming in confident and making sure I'm healthy. And, I think we got a really good team morale going on right now, and it's been super positive, and it's just exciting to be around now. I think a lot of things have been looking up, and it's been fun. Just learning from what I went through last year. What the ballparks are and what to expect. I think there's a lot of unknown when you haven't debuted, and then once you have, you kind of learn how to adapt. And like anything, you just learn how to go through it and do it well. So,
is there any danger to paralysis by analysis, that type of thing? Like when you go. Obviously, all we've ever known about you is hitting, right? It's just what you do. You are a professional hitter. And then you get to the major leagues, and clear, I'm sure the numbers weren't what you want them to be, but it's your first season in the big leagues. Do you freak out about it? Do you change all your approach? Or do you just try to relax a little bit and say, it's going to come. The more I'm there, the more I adjust, the more I know. I don't need to worry too much about any particular results.
Yeah, I think, doing your research on how that affects you personally. So other guys need more energy. They need, certain things to get them going. Some people need to relax a little bit more, take some time off and just kind of clear their head, still be present every day and work as hard as possible. But, for me, it was just learning, I just trust yourself. And for me, I think the confidence comes from my preparation. So the clearer goals I have in my work beforehand, whether it's, trying to analyze what we're going to face that day or, whatever challenges are in the near future, I think attacking those specifically for me just allows it to just kind of happen naturally. And that's when I play my best is just, I dedicate myself to that preparation and, everything will happen as it will. After that, I have no control. So, and just play hard. And, I think knowing the game as well as possible too, and being situationally aware will go a long way in a lot of different areas too. So that's all part of it.
Ryan McKenna is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Is there any chance that the hair is like related as a superstition? Like you struggle a little bit. Okay, we got to mix it up. Gotta cut the hair and try something else and see how that goes.
I wouldn't say I'm not a very superstitious individual.
Are you a little stitious?
A little stitious.
A little stitious.
Yeah. For me though, sometimes it's good to get something just a little different, whether
sure.
you shave or whatever. But it has really nothing to do with the game itself.
All right.
For me, so.
I'm obsessed with it. I'm sorry, Ryan McKenna. Hey, you played a lot of left field last year, obviously. How do you prepare for what's a completely different animal, clearly, this season out at left field in Camden Yards?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see what it's like down there. Talking to Sig Meidel and a lot of these guys that were really directly involved with the alteration of the field dimensions. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's preparation's a big part of it. So we're gonna have half our games be at home. So eventually we'll get kind of more used to it as the season goes on. But going out before the day, pre-practice and just kind of observing the dimensions and maybe taking some balls off the wall and during BP just really be diligent and seeing how the ball is traveling versus how much ground you have to cover.
Sure.
All that stuff. So I think it'll be good in the long run, and we'll see when we get down there. But I'm interested to see what it's like.
I was like imagining you in the off season, like acting like a 4-year-old and throwing balls against walls just to see weird ways in which they might bounce and like something along those lines in order to try to prepare for this sort of goofy, like quirky, 2 walls right up against each other in left center field thing. Who knows where?
Yeah,
it might
you're not too far wrong. I mean, I think trying to imitate that as much as possible. That's kind of what kids do is they try to make it real and they imagine certain situations and have fun with it. So. Yeah, no, it's kind of true in some sense.
I was that kid, and it definitely wasn't because I didn't have any friends in the neighborhood. It was that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend my time throwing a ball against the wall. Ryan, speaking of which, we saw you hit a pretty towering, majestic home run a couple days ago. Does it have anything to do with the fact that it's going to take a little bit more muscle to hit some home runs at Camden Yards? Maybe you need to load up a little bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of these guys are like-minded with me right now. It's just, having that good approach. I think most home runs, that we hit will still go out. You know what I mean? So if we have that good, consistent approach with, what we're trying to do that day, I think barreling the ball is kind of number one. And then, everything that will happen after that. I think there was a statistic that we got brought up that only like 2 home runs of all last year would have been taken away because of the new wall.
Wow.
So that just, that goes to show just, the approach and the power that we have as a team, the potential that we have. It doesn't really matter the dimension. So, it'll be good. So.
Ryan, you mentioned this team and maybe the confidence and the excitement that you guys are feeling. I'm sure you know. I mean, in the outside, everybody's writing you guys off, and it's going to be another bad year for the Orioles. But are you starting to see like that nucleus of you guys that have come up together? Are you sort of starting to have that feeling of like, no, we're ready. Like we're ready to go and compete. We're not just here to be part of the process. We're here to go and we think we can win some games. We've won some games. Like, are you feeling a little bit of that from this group of guys?
Yeah, 100%. I think it comes down to the leadership right now. We had a great meeting. Hyder's done a great job with us in the past, and I think it's just, like you said, coming together and, whatever the negative stuff that is around us, just try to eliminate, whether that be the outside, negativity talk or whatever the case may be. Just focus on what's going to make us better individually and then also as a team. So help us prepare, help us, as a team collectively to go to your teammate if you have any questions about something, hey, what would you think about this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Execute in certain areas, whether it's defense, offense, or, whatever portion of the game. But yeah, I think that's been a little bit more positive than ever in this clubhouse, and it's really awesome to see. But yeah.
Just another minute or two here with Ryan McKenna from the Baltimore Orioles on Glenn Clark Radio. Ryan, how much have you been inspired? You know, there was already Trey, and then we add in, like, we all didn't know what Cedric was going through a year ago. Those two dudes and their battles and how they've come out from them, and, you know, Cedric turned into one of the best players in all of baseball despite everything he was going through. How much does that inspire you guys, like watching guys go through these things and just not allow it to impact them whatsoever and go out and do their job?
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, just it goes to their work ethic, honestly, and the mentality, like you had mentioned. You know, I haven't really experienced any of that, so it's hard to relate. But you know, knowing them as people and always pulling for them it's very, very impressive, and it is inspiring, and you know, it makes you want to go that extra mile, and you know, put in that work that is going to be and the benefit for yourself, but also the team, you know, and just by their example, you know, do what they're kind of leading the group to do. So yeah, it's been really impressive to see.
They're incredible, man. They are absolutely incredible. And I need to know how you feel about the extra inning. We have had so many debates over the course of the last 4 months about the extra inning thing. So I am in favor of it. I loved the extra inning thing, man. It was so you guys forcing action, having to do some things. Are you good with it? Are you hoping that maybe it sticks around past this season, or are you like, no, dude, that's not baseball. We got to just keep playing baseball. Where are you with the extra inning deal?
Yeah, are you referring to the runner on second base? Yeah. Honestly, I had no problem with it. I think as a hitter, you know, it's a good situational, you know, objective. It kind of moves the game a little bit. You know, it gets that action right away. You know, I think the pitcher side would be a little bit more interesting than me, because obviously I want the RBI. You know, that's a good opportunity for me as a hitter. So I think that's, you know, I'm in favor of it. And being the guy, I don't know if it goes down as a scored run or not, but that's also a benefit too offensively. So I mean, yeah, I would say I enjoy that as a part of the game, but I think the pitchers might have a little bit different.
Yeah, that's probably true. It also probably makes it less likely that at some point you end up getting called upon to pitch in one of these like 19-inning insano games, or they're just like, hey, go loosen up your arm. And you're like, what, me?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen I haven't talked to Hyder about that, but I don't know if I'm on the list.
Yeah, where you would fall on
Yeah, exactly, where I would fall on that.
Okay, are you the type that would want to be higher on the list, or did you say like, no, dude, if I'm up there, it's 40-mile-an-hour cheese. Like I can't be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would have no problem doing it. Hopefully, it would be on the like good side. I don't know if we would be doing that if we would score a bunch of runs on our side, but yeah, if it was a game at a hand, I wouldn't mind doing that.
What would you be if you were called upon in the first week of the season? What would you be touching right now? What would be the fastest you think you could deliver a ball over the plate?
Oh, fastest? Like if I was actually trying to, you know, throw my best?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So my fastball, I think the last time I tried to throw as hard as possible was like 92.
Okay,
so
all right.
It's nothing crazy, but
we'll take that.
Yeah, I don't think I would be throwing. I would
no
probably
chance.
Try to maybe 75 to 80, but and just try to throw strikes. But yeah, no, I think I could touch 92.
I was gonna if you threw 10 pitches at 92 miles an hour, how many of them would actually be anywhere near the plate?
That's an even better question. I would like to say half, but I don't know. I mean, hopefully we'll see if that ever happens.
Oh man, but first of all, I hope it doesn't. I hope that you guys win a bunch of games. It's never something that's come up, but it would be kind of entertaining. Wilkerson got to do it a couple years ago, and it created a memory for everybody here when he came in and got a save. Ryan is go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, by all means.
Yeah, Trey and I were talking about that situation in Anaheim where he got the save and his stuff got sent to Cooperstown, which is kind of
it's true.
A funny scenario. But
right? I don't think Stevie Wilkerson woke up that day knowing that he was going to end up making a donation to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
The things that he did. So. Ryan, is there anything we can plug for you? Anything you got going on? I know you're like kind of on social media, but not like terribly active on there.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Just my Instagram, maybe RY_Mac MAC 35. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty low key for me.
Give him a follow there. I know you're a golf guy. You got a pick for the Masters next week?
Oof, I would love to see Tiger Woods in there, but
bro.
There's a lot of top tier guys. I don't know, Justin Thomas. Hopefully he makes a good run. There was a new number one that just got put up. I forget his name, but I think it's Steven maybe. I don't know, but there's a new number one.
I literally know who you're talking about, and for some reason I am also blanking on it at the moment. I'm sorry. Everybody's all excited about. Oh, Scotty Scheffler. God, why did Scotty Scheffler is the new number one.
That'd be awesome to see him, and if he does well there. So. And
everybody's excited about Victor Hovland too. That's the other guy that everybody's telling me about. Like that's who you should pick.
Oh yeah.
Ryan McKenna, really appreciate taking a couple of minutes for us this morning, man. May you have an outstanding season. Can't wait to see you guys here on the 11th for opening day. Appreciate you taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Ryan McKenna from the Baltimore Orioles getting ready for the start of the season. I can't believe he cut his hair. What is he doing? I can't believe it. Why? Why cut your hair, man? You got everything going for you. Got all those luscious locks. People dream of that. What are you doing?
Papa Cass over here.
Cass, what's your deal? What is your thought on all of this?
I like his hair.
Yeah.
I think he's really attractive.
So what if
I already looked up his Instagram.
But he said the young lady in his life prefers it the other way.
Okay, well then that's all that matters. Doesn't matter my opinion.
Well, I agree that it does it to him.
You know what I mean?
But I'm saying you're saying he looks really good this way.
Yeah, preferably. If I'm looking at him, I enjoy seeing him with longer hair. But I'm not the special lady in his life.
It's a
the
good
only
point.
thing that matters is his special lady.
And that's where we separate, right? We're going to separate there.
Okay.
Because I think your own opinion should be what matters most.
Well, yeah, for sure. But if most dudes don't care about their hair.
That is a very good point.
So it's like I could do either or, and they feel better when their woman is like, you look so good with this hair.
I used to like going fresh baldy, like straight up baldy. I used to bick it. I used to love it. The Mr. Clean look was my jam. I was all in. I thought it was incredible. And never was there a single young lady who was ever in my life that agreed with such an opinion. They all felt differently. They all said, no, we don't like this. Stop doing that. Not a fan.
Preferred hair. It's just depends on the person. Like some people cannot pull things off.
Yeah, I had a weak attempt at a mullet, and I just looked. I looked greasy.
Well, yeah, that's
greasy.
Oh, that's not a good look. That's not a good look.
Like greasy.
Wait a second. What am I looking at? That's you?
That's me.
Let me.
That's not
about
bad.
10
That's
years ago.
shocking.
Sound like you looked really bad.
I looked greasy.
Ryan McKenna looked good.
Does your girl prefer the hair now?
Yes.
Oh, but you're defaulting back to the idea that all that matters is.
No, I'm not saying all that matters is that. But think of it this way, right? Let's say your girlfriend looks better with long hair. You think she looks
I am not.
with
That
long
is
hair.
not my department.
it's
Nope.
Not a no
my-
chance. I will
Oh my
never
gosh.
share my opinion about this.
That's fine.
I will never.
That's fine.
I will never ever. You know how I like my wife's hair?
How
However she likes it.
And that's great.
That's
I'm
how I
very
like
happy
it.
for you that you have that mindset.
That's how I like
it's
it.
Fantastic.
It's perfect.
Happy wife.
That's
happy
how you
life.
have to have
Mrs.
it.
Clark,
No, I
you look
understand that.
wonderful.
My wife has very long, thick, flowing hair, and let's be honest. If she gets 5 inches cut off of it, you can't really tell because it's super long. But if I don't notice,
Oh, you better.
it's a big
You
deal.
better. You better. Oh, that's become a thing too. I was like, we've been together are we still doing this? We've been together for 15 years. We really still doing this?
Like I love mullets and I like the long flowy hair, but on some guys they just can't pull it off.
Yeah.
Like no offense, but it's for me it's one of those things. You're like, okay, let's say I go to a lacrosse game, right? And you see them in the helmets and you see their hair and you're like, oh, they're gonna be attractive. Then they take off the helmet and you're like, ooh, never mind.
This happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I know. I know you can.
How many
relate
times
to
I'm
it.
calling a lacrosse game and I'm like, I bet this guy's hot. Feel that all the time. All right, let's do Did This Really Happen? Did This Really Happen is brought to you today by Glory Days Grill. Taco Tuesday, Nacho Thursday, Burger Monday every week at Glory Days Grill. $7.99 burgers. They do a $7.99 taco plate special on Tuesdays and $6.99 nachos on Thursdays, among the many specials that you find at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill, glorydaysgrill.com.
If it's Nacho Wednesday, whose is it?
It's Thursday, by the way. You should have.
Nacho
really,
Thursday.
I mean, that's worse than a dad. You're not even a dad.
Not yet.
You're not even a
I'm prepared.
dad, and you made that. I'm
I can't
allowed.
wait for her to come.
Yeah, your daughter, your upcoming daughter that you have to have, and she's going to do naked scenes in movies. Congratulations on her success, though.
Yeah.
You got that going for her.
At a certain point,
she's going to be quite
it's
successful.
Her life. She has.
That's the point.
I get 17 years. At 18, she can do whatever she wants. I don't have to be happy about it, but she can do whatever she wants.
That's the point.
Get out of here. Just do your thing.
Anywho.
By the way, this.
I don't
you
even
know
have
what?
a
Hang
daughter
on.
yet. I'm already
I'm
upset.
gonna run this. I'm gonna run this by the young people. I have a friend, and she was talking to me about the fact that it wouldn't bother her if her husband watched porn, but it would bother her if he subscribed to an OnlyFans channel because that's more intimate.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would say
Wholeheartedly,
so.
I agree
Okay.
with that.
All right.
Because
It's not something I'd ever thought about before.
technically, if you go to Pornhub, you don't have to pay, right? So it's just general videos. You don't have to know the person on a personal basis. It's just a random person. There's no oh my God, she's fine, nothing like that. But OnlyFans, you subscribe and you most dominantly pay for it.
She was like,
You're
I wouldn't
paying for a
care
singular
if she got naked or not on the OnlyFans. If he was subscribing to an OnlyFans, I would have a problem with that. And I was like, that's a fascinating. It's something I've never thought about. We did a bit where because I knew nothing about OnlyFans, where somebody in the fantasy football league owed me money, and I said, just instead of paying me, get a group subscription to an OnlyFans channel, dealer's choice. Just I want to know what it was all about, right?
Was it Lil Jordan's OnlyFans?
No, it was not. Yeah, it was a different.
Thanks for the donation.
Yeah, right. It's good. You used that money down in Nashville.
Yeah.
I feel good about that when you went out for bourbon. And I looked at it one time and I was like, this is not for me. This concept is just not for your boy. I'm out.
I find it very cringy and honestly more degrading. It's just kind of you're just getting paid by weirdos to and some of the things is literally just
like Jerry, poor Jerry who just wants to be a weirdo, and here you are he's catching strays from Papa Cass. Poor Jerry just wants to watch Euphoria and have his OnlyFans channel.
Jerry in Texas.
Calling him right. You're calling him out for it.
He couldn't go to the Eric Church concert.
Yeah, this poor guy. He just can't even have his OnlyFans subscription or watch Euphoria in peace. He's got to catch strays from Papa Cass. All right, go. Oh.
In sporting news,
yes,
Mark Feinston is reporting that the Dodgers have traded A.J. Pollock to the White Sox for Craig Kimbrell, so the rich get richer.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
I have A.J. Pollock in my dynasty.
Let's get to the part where we do. Did it really happen? We still have to take a commercial break. We got to do this. We got to move along. Did this really happen?
So, according to MedPage.
Oh, and by the way, did somebody asked if the whole Lamar Jackson thing was a April Fool's joke? No, I don't know. I don't do April Fool. That'd be a really bad April. What a terrible April Fool's bit it would be to we didn't get a guess.
I hate April Fool.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so stupid. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So according to MedPage today, a woman in China came to the doctor with severe stomach pains. Initially, they thought it could be constipation, but after an ultrasound, it was ruled out. It wasn't until after an X-ray and hours in the hospital that they found a Coke bottle. A Coke bottle was shoved up her vagina and later confessed that she put it up there for pleasure and thought it could come out naturally, but never did.
Everything is true except the Coke bottle.
You think it was something else?
I think it was like a zucchini.
Okay.
Or something.
Paul? Now, Paul is convinced that he can read Papa Cass. Paul is convinced that he's got a wavelength thing going on.
Next Friday, I'm bringing in a mask and sunglasses.
You're gonna dress up like you're on The Masked Singer. You're gonna be
You're not gonna know my facial expressions.
I don't know your facial expressions. I was not looking
Somebody
at
needs
you
to, much like OnlyFans, somebody needs to explain The Masked Singer to me at some point. I've never viewed the program. Who wins? Is the point that you're supposed to be good at singing?
We all win.
Is the point that you're supposed they're just supposed to figure out who you are?
Right,
I don't get. But how does somebody win for the season?
They have to I guess at the beginning of the show,
This response is why I don't think it's a good show.
No, it is a good show.
You keep saying that. I feel like I know American Idol was a good show when it was good because it was very simple. You're watching talented people perform and you were picking which one was the most talented.
For example, like Gronkowski was on the show.
Yes.
Right? And so he was on there, and you give certain facts about yourself, but you have to make it as discreet as possible.
Right, I
so
get it, but they announce a winner for the season.
Right. So the winner of the
How do you
season
win?
is who, by being the most discreet about who you are, hiding your identity.
But they give out facts about you. How do you get to
Right,
choose
it's
that?
No. You do get to choose. You get
This
to
is
like
a lot of
pick
weird.
what you have.
Well, I would give them at least. I have 12 hairs on my right leg. Like,
Okay, well, obviously that's pertain to actual.
this is
like,
why I don't think
knowledge.
it. All right, go ahead. Anyway, I'm sorry.
You guys
Paul.
go ahead.
Paul.
It's fake.
Jordan, I was inclined to agree with you, but you weren't here last week, and that's the same thing Cass did last week. Last week she did a everything true but 1 point and switched it. So I'm going to go with it's just true. I'm just going to go with this. Every year Deadspin would do it, back when Deadspin was a thing, they would do a bit, at the end of the year it was called What Did We Get Stuck in Our Rectums This Year? And they would literally compile like every report from every hospital about the country about things they took out of somebody's ass during
Rectum, damn near
well,
killed
of course, we remember the match back. That was when famously Steve-O said, I told my father that I was going to do it, and he looked at me and said, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And he didn't do it, and Ryan Dunn did it instead, which was a tremendous. They go to the Japanese doctor, and the Japanese doctor, they're all like, they're having sex with each other, the men with the men, the women with the women. It's just wonderful. I think it's true. I think it's a true story. I think somebody really did do this.
Is that what we're going with? True?
I'm going with true.
False.
False.
Glenn, you lose.
God damn it!
Let's go.
Terrible at this game.
So it was actually a man from China, and it was a Coke bottle, so you're wrong about that.
So it's the only difference is that a man and not a woman?
No, it was a Coke
A
bottle.
man put it up his vagina?
No, his rectum.
Well, okay.
There you go.
They see.
Pleasure.
Well, I wasn't.
I was reading another article, though, that
Yeah,
someone
Coke
put a
bottle.
vase up his butt and had a goldfish in it.
What?
So they saved the
This has
goldfish.
been the weirdest show we've ever done.
Yeah.
What? What?
It was a cute goldfish.
Oh, good. Well, that makes a difference. That's important. Well, now that I was a kid. Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Still alive.
The goldfish.
Yeah, the goldfish was in a vase, just
Right.
shoved
Protect,
up.
and then the whole
So
thing.
It was like, unless he was doing.
Well,
like,
but wait a second. How was there water to keep the goldfish alive? Was the vase
was water in
covered?
there.
And was the
the vase somehow like had
Did
a?
it- did
you
it-
know what?
did
We are stop. We're asking way too many questions. Way too many questions about this particular subject. Way too many.
I think it's just.
Well, oh God. I think we're learning some things about Papa Cass. I think we're getting a little too comfortable around here. All right, well done, Cass. Well done. I have been terrible.
I'm on a heater.
Yeah, Paul is on a heater. I am right now. I'm the Chris Davis of this game. I am striking out frequently.
It's because I can read her.
Apparently, she's wearing her Masked Singer mask next week. She's coming in here with a Phantom of the Opera mask on, and we're gonna see how it goes.
Lucky, and to make himself feel better, he's like, I can just read you.
We're up all night to get some. We're up all night to get
mask
lucky.
and sunglasses next time.
You gotta forget.
We're up all night, good fun. We're up all night. We're up all night to get lucky.
I used to think that said.
Hi, John Colson. How are you, buddy? Did you want to come back and talk about? I saw you close your door at one point. Is that because Cass kept talking about tits? Very aggressive. Cass was screaming about tits, and John's like, "I've got a very important meeting. I cannot." You all right? Here, you can duck in, Jordan.
I was on a call and somebody went, "What's all that screaming in the background?"
Yeah, well, if you had known, you don't have any daughters, so you're the wrong person to ask. What we were dealing with was the question of if your daughter was on the show Euphoria, where there's a whole lot of nakedness and sex scenes, would you watch, and how uncomfortable would it be to watch?
And would you comment that her boobs are the nicest boobs?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's very Donald Trump talking about his daughter.
Yeah, that's what. But I still think that's shtick. I'm not convinced that part of it was true. There was a story about how her grandparents were like, "You got the best tits in Hollywood." I think that's a joke. I don't think that's real. I don't think that's actually something that happened. No. This girl on Euphoria, her grandparents watch, and she told an interviewer was like, "Is it weird that your grandparents watch?" And she was like, "No, they told me I've got the best tits in Hollywood." I think she would. No, stop. I think she was trying to get a rise out of the interviewer. I think she was trying to, I don't think there was any.
I genuinely don't believe
I'm saying I think that as a parent, you're just over it at some point. You're just over it.
All I know is I might have to go research this.
You might have to go watch some Euphoria and see. That's a good point. Go, how can maybe she really does? Like maybe we all should say, "Hey, look, we can't lie. Can't lie." All right, thank you, John. I appreciate it. Most worshipful Grandmaster. We got to take a break. We got to wrap up the show. What are we doing? It's 12:18. We'll take one more break. Come back in. Tidbit, two-bit, or wind down for the week. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The newest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Maryland men's basketball's 2002 NCAA Tournament Championship, as Gary Williams reflects on how the program rose from the ashes of NCAA sanctions to the pinnacle of the sport, and why his perspective of the title run has changed now 2 decades later. Plus, Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, and the rest of the team relive the moments that ultimately led them to cutting down the nets in Atlanta. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farms stores. And you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people. People like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable.
Le
champion.
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Stay tuned. Your chance to win $1 million is coming up. Probably not from us. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
She's a handsome young lady. She's lovely. She's an attractive female person. This Sydney. She's no what? You have a microphone, Cass.
I said she's gay.
Okay.
Male touches her, so you can admire, but
No,
what do you think? I'm trying to leave my wife for Sydney Sweeney?
She's bi.
She has
Okay,
a
well,
husband.
She's bi.
She can be bi.
That's
with a husband.
fine. I don't understand what we're doing here.
No, nothing's wrong with it.
Like, I'm not making life plans around the fact that Sydney Sweeney is an attractive
Damn, I guess
human.
I'm going back
No,
home.
no,
Old missus tonight.
What am I going to do with my life now?
Cancel my plane tickets to L.A.
Glenn's got to hit up Tyga for his child support guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get a little help with that. She says that like it mattered. Like, I've got bad news for you. You don't have a chance. Like, damn it. I thought I did. Until this moment, I was convinced that that's where my life was.
Jeremy
From what?
Freaking Texas.
Oh, yeah, Jerry. Oh, Jerry.
Yeah.
Down there watching Euphoria. All right, final segment of the show brought to you by Simply the Bets. Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning, 11:40 a.m. You can watch it on Facebook.com/PressBoxSports or listen here at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Oh, that is aggressive. I'm seeing a particular GIF that involves Sydney Sweeney, and that is an aggressive sex act. My word. This one in particular, this appears to be a bit of a thing. He's like ripping at her, you know.
I'm not gonna lie though, she got really unattractive in the second season. Like I got like really unattractive. Like I was just like, ooh.
That was intentional though. She was overdoing the makeup and all that to attract a certain person.
No, I know, but like the crying, she just looked like a little grease ball the whole season, like a little mess.
All right, anyway, so the moral of the story is watch Simply the Bets or listen to Simply the Bets. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel every Tuesday morning at 11:40 a.m. And then we do Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday morning at 11:40 a.m. Also brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by the Baltimore Police Department, where they're looking for some folks. You may be thinking about a different path in life. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good, bpdrecruit.org.
All right, so we just talked with Ryan McKenna. We talked about his majestic home run that he hit the other day. Opening day
was
is
majestic.
Just 1 week away, and things look bleak for the Orioles, mainly because of the pitching. The Orioles team ERA in 2021 was dead last in all of Major League Baseball, coming in at .584, nearly 3/4 of a run higher than the next closest team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who came in at .511. The only outside addition the Orioles made to their starting rotation was
Jordan Lyles, baby,
who, despite being more good than bad last season, still registered a .515 ERA in 180 innings pitched.
Yeah, he's going to show you. He's pitching today. He's going to show you. Talking trash over there.
I like Jordan. I like the signing.
All right.
All of this means that the Orioles' best chance of being more than a punching bag in 2022 lies squarely on the shoulders of their offense, and that offense at least gives the Orioles a puncher's chance, boasting 6 players who have hit 20-plus home runs in a Major League season, including 4 who did it last season, though the 195 team home runs ranked 17th in Major League Baseball. Which 9 teams in 2021 hit 220 or more home runs?
Dodgers.
Yes.
They are
4th at 237.
Red Sox?
No.
Yankees.
The Yankees. They are tied for 6th with 2 other teams at 222.
White Sox.
No.
That's surprising. They got some hitters there.
They do. But some of those guys were hurt for a lot of the year.
Maybe. Remembering things.
Nationals?
No.
Astros.
The Astros are 9th.
Don't worry, I'll just carry us, Jordan. Don't worry, you can.
Yeah.
No, I'll just
221.
I'll carry. I'll shoulder the load. The Padres.
No.
Okay. The.
Did I guess Phillies?
No.
I don't think I did.
The Mets.
No.
The Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays first, 262.
Probably have started there.
Yeah.
The Braves.
They were 3rd at 239.
Don't worry, Jordan.
I know.
You don't have to get any right at all.
I know.
I'll just take care of it. And all we're doing is just guessing names of baseball teams.
Getting goose egg.
If you want to get one at some point, that would be swell. But I'll just carry us, okay?
Goose egg.
The Twins.
They were 5th at 228, despite their 73 and 89 record.
I am whooping your ass.
You're creaming.
This is
man.
embarrassing.
This is rough.
The Rays.
They were 6th at
Oh my
222.
God.
Jesus.
They were
They
were 2nd in all of Major League Baseball in runs scored last year.
How do you show your face?
Yeah.
How do you?
I know.
You're embarrassed.
There's one.
Kaz can't be friends with you anymore.
There's 2 left.
Like, it's over.
No more cold French fries after the bar, man.
Yeah.
I can throw out all the garbage guesses. I got Angels. There we go.
I mean, they've all been garbage guesses because you haven't gotten one right.
They have.
No,
Go
not
ahead.
the Angels.
Oh yeah, that's sad. The Cardinals.
No.
I'll let you alternate. Give you a shot.
No.
Just guess
I
somebody.
keep
It's
going
12:27.
Diamondbacks.
No.
Go.
That is a bad guess.
Yeah.
The Reds.
The Reds, 222. They were tied for 6th.
There's one more.
They had some home run hitters in their lineup.
Did you say Cubs?
No.
Oh boy, there's a chance. If I get this right, you understand what happens here?
I
You have to do
confused
you have to do a naked lap.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
rule.
I
Like
don't
you
know.
understand that's the way it works. If I
Yeah.
shut you out, the rule is naked lap.
Yeah.
Close my eyes.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be here. I get to guess
It's
first.
not your turn, and no.
I think it means I get 2 guesses.
Yeah. Now I'm screwed.
Giants, Gigantes.
The Giants.
Oh my God!
They were second.
That was
Second overall with
What?
241 home runs.
Who did they? Who?
Right, they won 107 games, man. So
Really
many.
good. I don't know if you remember.
They had
Yeah, really
they had
good.
like 10 guys that hit 12 or more.
Former GCR guest Lamont Wade hit a few.
Lamont Wade
I don't know if you
was
remember that.
All right, now this could be Jordan. I will ask you.
Oh boy.
Which
Oh,
was
boy.
the only team of those 9 without a 30 home run player?
Let me see
Don't
the
worry.
9.
Don't
Let me see
worry.
the
I wrote
9.
them down for you.
Thank you.
Because I care about you,
Yeah.
Jordan. I don't want to see bad things happen to
This
you.
could
as a
save
person.
you from the naked lap.
Without a 30 home run player,
Yes.
want to say there's a lot of pressure right now. I've
boy.
Damn, I've got 2 on
You
the
got an
train.
11% chance.
I'll go Giants.
The Giants.
go.
They didn't. Their leading home run hitter was Brandon Belt. He hit 29.
All right, let's go.
You're
That's
lucky.
what I thought.
You're lucky.
Yeah,
You're lucky
yeah.
there. All right, very good. Very good. Tubular is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. We'll be there on a Monday night for the title game. Myself and the former Terp, Rodney Elliott, hanging out with you in the FanDuel Sportsbook. We got great giveaways. Grade 8's memorabilia is posting up to hook you up with some great giveaways as well. We're giving you betting advice during the course of the game. Going to be a tremendous time. If you want to guarantee your spot, email events@sportssocialmd.com. It's events@sportssocialmd.com. All right, here we go for the weekend. Totally tubular-wise. Tonight, the women's Final Four on ESPN. Louisville, South Carolina at 7, followed by UConn, Stanford. Tomorrow, the men's Final Four. TBS, by the way, for the Final Four and the title game. Villanova, Kansas at 6:09. Carolina, Duke at 8:49. As far as lacrosse for the weekend, tomorrow at noon on ESPNU, Maryland Johns Hopkins women. And everybody else is on the road this weekend. Maryland's at Michigan at noon on Big Ten Network Plus. Penn State's at, no, that's baseball. Penn State, Maryland baseball all weekend on Big Ten Network Plus. ESPN Plus, Loyola Holy Cross at 12. Cass, you know a thing or two about that. Navy Boston University at 12. AmericaEast.tv for UMBC Vermont at 12. Flow Sports for Towson Drexel at 4. Tomorrow night, I've got Alverny and Stevenson at 7 o'clock. The official Basketball Hall of Fame announcement is tomorrow at noon on ESPN2, but I'm pretty sure we know the entire class. Bob Huggins, Manu Ginobili, Swin Cash, Tim Hardaway. They do not do a good job with keeping that news. I think because they bring the families in for the announcement, and so they're like, yeah, we know. Like, we know who's here.
I wonder why I'm here.
Yeah, right? Like, you brought Bob
What's all
Huggins.
this?
It's a very weird bit the way they do that, but they'll make it official tomorrow at noon. And on Sunday, the women's championship game is at 8 on ESPN. Johns Hopkins Rutgers Lacrosse at 7 on Big Ten Network. Wild Capital Sunday night at 7 on NBC Sports Washington. Oh, and it's WrestleMania weekend. Hell yeah. Peacock tomorrow and Sunday night for WrestleMania. You can find that. And I believe there's something else I wanted to include in the list. Oh, the Orioles, their schedule. Today, they are on Masson, Phillies, Orioles at 1, Rangers, Suarez, and Jordan Lyles. Also in the rest of the country on MLB Network, so if you live elsewhere, you can watch it. The radio for the rest of the weekend tomorrow at 1, Orioles, Tigers, and on Sunday at 1, Orioles, Twins. Some non-sports highlights?
Nothing great tonight. Jared Carmichael, Rothaniel. It's a comedy special on HBO. That's at 9 o'clock tonight. Forever Out of My League, his new Netflix film.
Gerard Carmichael, I believe.
Gerard Carmichael.
Because I believe he's also hosting SNL tomorrow night.
He is. He is stealing my thunder. He's hosting SNL tomorrow night with musical guest Gunna at 11:30. Tomorrow night.
What? Well, there was an audible reaction from Papa Cass about Gunna?
No way. Musical guest Gunna.
That's pretty good.
On CBS tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Whitney, a look back. I'm assuming that's Whitney Houston because who else is Whitney?
Whitney Cummings, the comedian.
Whitney Cummings. I look back at
Ryan
her
Whitney.
Ryan Whitney, the hockey player. Exactly right.
Founder of Pink Whitney.
That's right.
Whiskey.
He did. That's a fact.
On Sunday on CBS, the 64th Annual Grammy Awards at 8 o'clock. The Foo Fighters have canceled that performance and every other
That's a
concert
bummer.
date on
That's
their
a
tour.
I mean, you get it. You, of course, understand. But,
On AMC, The Walking Dead, and then The Talking Dead at 9 and 10. HBO Winning Time, The Rise of Los Angeles Lakers Dynasty at 9 o'clock.
It's my jam.
And then Shining Veil on Stars at 10 o'clock.
All right. Very good. Kids, social media.
Instagram, J Schwartzberg 1. Twitter, Schwartzberg JS.
Instagram, Cassidy_Elizabeth22, and then Twitter, Cassidy Butler 5.
Hey, know the risks and have a plan before you start gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. What's coming up on the Bat Around tomorrow, Paul?
Tomorrow is going to be our MLB preview show. So we have Stan at 10:20. Ryan Blake from Utah Street Report is going to come on 11 just to give us his outlook and plug the new show that he and I are doing together. And then we're going to give our preview and our predictions for the Orioles, for the American League, National League, our awards winners, all that stuff tomorrow.
All right, very good. That's tomorrow morning, the Bat Around 10 to noon, same locations. Thanks today to Ryan McKenna. Thanks to Mike Tannenbaum. Thanks to Johnny Holiday. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the
archive
tab at glennclarkradio.com. On Monday, I believe Gravis Vasquez is going to join us. He is working the Final Four this weekend for Westwood One.
He's got some nice flowing locks
He
right
does.
now.
He has let that go a little bit. I'm a big fan. I did not know, but Gravis is down in New Orleans working the broadcast, so that's cool. He's going to join us on Monday. We'll preview the title game with him. And, of course, we'll talk to Jeremy Kahn and Stuff and Things coming up on Monday. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Baltimore Police, Grade 8's Memorabilia, FanDuel Sportsbook, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Underdog Fantasy Football, Blue Line Canine, your local Toyota dealer at buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Paul. Follow him on Twitter at Paul Valley. Follow us Twitter and Instagram at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go local lacrosse teams. Go North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Take your shirt off. Twist it around your head. Spin it like a helicopter. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.